pause, put the controller down. It's time to talk about the gaming industry. My name is CJ Leo.
And I am Andrew.
And this is episode 15 of Press Pause, a gaming podcast. How are you, my friend?
Good. I'm doing good. We've got an intro now. We had an intro last week, but it sounds better now. I went in and redid the fade out on that. You'll probably be about 15 seconds into it now. We don't actually play it live when we record, but It was like a hard drop when we started talking, and I just went in and I was like, just let me play with it a little bit more.
Absolutely.
And got it much smoother, so it'll come down gently but quickly when we start talking, and then fade out over the course of about 30-ish seconds.
Yeah, your editing skills are definitely superior to
I've just had more experience with it. That's all it is.
Definitely. Yeah, let's get to some housekeeping. As a reminder, we are on Spotify for Press Pause, a gaming podcast only. You will not find our other shows on Spotify as of yet. So if you want the audio-only version, check the link in the description. For those of you who also missed it, I live streamed for the first time on Co-op Entertainment's YouTube channel. Did the live reactions to the State of Play, which we'll talk about in today's topic of the week. We'll get to that later, but I thought it was very fun. We had several people join, and that was my first time using OBS Studio, which is man. If I could do this show on OBS, I would do it on OBS. It's really easy to use, really customizable. I love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
I just don't know how I would do that.
I was not there for that because, as usual, I was like, I don't want to do that. but I had very easy. You know, it's funny because I used to wonder, like, if you and I ever had a YouTube show, like which one would each of us be? And I always kind of figured I'd be the one going, I don't want to do that. And now that we actually do have a YouTube show, I find that I am in fact that guy.
Here's the thing. I think when I look at us, I go, you're a podcaster and I'm a YouTuber.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of the difference between us. You know, very similar,
but not the same.
But not the same. Definitely not the same. But
my reasons for that, we talked about this, but the reason I wasn't there is because I felt like, well, what reaction am I going to have? It's going to be the same thing that everybody has. It's either going to be, that looks cool, that looks terrible, or that looks okay, but I'm not really interested. Like, there's basically only 3 reactions you can have to a 30-second trailer during one of these things. And even if you have some kind of more, even if you have something more to say, you're not going to be able to get out a cogent thought in the time that you have before the next one starts and you're talking over it. So that's why I didn't do that. I figured it would be best to leave whatever insight I might have had in the moment, which wasn't much, because I didn't watch the thing. Well, I watched like the first minute of it live, and then I was like,
I'll just watch this later, piecemeal.
I'll just mouse through it later, because there's a lot of stuff that I'm not interested in, which is what I did. And I got through it in about 5 minutes. Yeah. I figured it would just be best to wait until today when we're recording to get my thoughts out
for sure
about what they showed.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't about like sharing my thoughts. It was more about like seeing if I could get any people to join and chat with us and garner some views.
Just try to get out in front and get some eyes on the stuff. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, and it was fun. I had a good time. And it also let me test out OBS, which I really like.
Yeah.
But let's get into what we're playing.
Yes,
I know
we've both
what you've
been
been playing.
Something.
Yes, we've both been playing something new, which is a first.
Who should start?
I'm going to let you go first.
Okay. I thought you might want to have me go second, because I think I'm going to take longer to talk about it. But, okay. Zelda.
Echoes of Wisdom.
Echoes of Wisdom just came out, and I got it right away because I've been looking forward to it. I've been having a lot of fun with it, man.
Yeah,
it's been pretty good. It's pretty much exactly what I expected it to be, which is great because I expected it to be pretty good. It is basically every encounter is now a small puzzle You know, you don't your response to enemies in this game is not, oh, that's a thing. I have to hit it with my sword. It's, oh, that's a moblin. I have to use this approach to defeat it. Or that's a bat. I have to use this approach to defeat it. Your tactics change wildly depending on what you're fighting.
Right.
Just because they have to. So it really makes every combat encounter kind of like stand out as a thing that you need to really think about instead of just
Here comes some moblins.
Yeah, just doing a few sword spins and being done with it.
Yeah, that's cool. Very similar to Tears of the Kingdom in that way.
Yes, in a sense, because you are using objects, you are using physics.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you just go in with your weapon in Tears of the Kingdom, you're gonna get your butt whooped most of the time.
Yeah, you're gonna want to use like different arrow combinations, different
different powers and abilities,
item and weapon combinations. So it's kind of like that, and you can see a lot more of that in the just like the interface is pulled like pretty much verbatim from those games. Like just the styling of the menus and stuff is very similar. There is a food system in the game. It's smoothies now. You mix two ingredients together to make a smoothie that'll have a restorative effect, and then it'll also like give you damage resistance, or it'll make you glow so you can see in the dark for 60 seconds or whatever. I'm actually I have my Switch on standby right now. I'm right in the middle of the Gerudo Desert dungeon. I'm actually.
Does it seem to indicate that this takes place like after Link's Awakening or like after?
No, this is a completely different thing.
Completely different. It's not in any of the timelines.
This isn't really a spoiler because it's a thing that happens at the very beginning of the game. Mm-hmm. Link and Zelda do not know each other yet.
Oh, okay. So it's definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like you start the game as Link, you go into the dungeon, you do the general stuff, you fight Ganon, and then you get sucked into the rift, and he shoots an arrow. Like again, you see all this in the initial trailer. Shoots an arrow, it cracks the crystal that Zelda's being held in, and she breaks out, and then you have to escape as her, and it's like, who was that mysterious swordsman and all that, and you learn his name is Link and all that, but no, they don't know each other in this game.
That's
so
funny.
This is a different continuity.
Interesting. They're gonna have to redo Hyrule Historia all over again.
Well, the thing about that is you can also just use a wiki,
Yeah, that's true.
But,
although I'm wondering because they still haven't really figured out where Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are. Although
they're a separate thing.
Yeah, they're apparently an entirely separate.
They literally have to be a separate thing because the origins of Hyrule, which are told in Tears of the Kingdom, are completely different from the other origin stories that Hyrule has had over the franchise.
Yeah, it's very strange. Like it's not. It's almost like it has nothing to do with like Ocarina of Time, like another timeline. It's just
it genuinely does not.
It's like I wonder if they decided like after Hyrule Historia came out if they were just going to be like, you know what, let's just reboot Zelda, and that's what Breath of the Wild was.
I don't think they care about a timeline. I don't think that Shigeru Miyamoto or Eiji Aonuma or any of them really give a shit about a timeline outside of like, oh hey, it'd be neat to link this to that or something.
You can make some money off of this.
Well, I think the fans are honestly far more interested in establishing some sort of canonical timeline than the creators are, because that then limits them by what they can do, because they can't say, oh, well, we'll do this, oh no, but we already did that in that other one, it wouldn't make sense chronologically. It's like, no, just do a different one every time. And sometimes games are directly related, like obviously Majora's Mask takes place after Ocarina of Time, and Link's Awakening also takes place after Ocarina of Time, because the Sealing War that is referenced in the intro of A Link to the Past, where they talk about the sages sealing away the Dark World.
That's the Ocarina of Time.
That's what happens in Ocarina of Time. So you've got that, but then there's stuff like the Minish Cap, which is just its own thing. It's not
Yeah,
really
apparently
connected.
it's after Skyward Sword, I think, in the timeline.
Well, yeah, but then Skyward is like, oh, this is the earliest Zelda
Yeah,
game,
Skyward is like the early. That's the
but
first
I
one.
mean, they said that about Ocarina of Time when it came out, and they said that about Minish Cap when it came out. Because
Yeah,
this
so
is how
they're just making it up as they go
this is how
along.
Link gets his hat. Yeah, they just do whatever they want, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, they shouldn't feel bound by
No, no, I agree.
any kind of continuity if they don't want to. Same thing with Final Fantasy. Like they just make it.
They reset every single
Yeah.
time, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, there's no there's no previous connection to any of the games outside of just the usual Zelda tropes. Of course, there's a Kakariko village, there's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Gerudo Desert, there's a Lake Hylia, but I mean that's although there is some stuff in there that's linked to the past ish. There's a it's not a dungeon. Well, it is kind of a dungeon. It's like a mini dungeon. The outside is very similar to one of the dungeons from Link to the Past, but once you go inside, it's a completely different layout. So it's obviously just the exterior. We decided to recreate that in 3D because it would be fun. And like the Gerudo Desert is in the same place that the desert was in Link to the Past, but it like also the Lost Woods is not in the same place, and Death Mountain isn't. So it's just hey, we had some fun putting some stuff in some of the same places because we wanted to see what it looked like in 3D. You know, it's cool. Also, the game this is the as far as I know the only Zelda game where Link canonically does not speak. It's not just you don't hear what he says, so you can fill in your head what he says. He is actually mute in this game. There is a reason for that. I won't say what it is.
I was gonna say that I feel like there's probably a reason for that.
There is a story reason for that.
Yeah.
Going around collecting they call them echoes. It's where you can copy the thing, whether it's a monster or an object. That's a lot of fun. You're going around collecting them. It's almost like I forget. Did you play Aria of Sorrow? You haven't played any of those portable Castlevanias, have you? Okay, well in that game you collect souls from enemies, and every enemy drops a soul that you can equip. So basically, every
cool.
enemy in the game is a sub weapon or ability. So there's a
Wow.
lot.
Okay, hold on. You're selling me on that game because that sounds very. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Oh, okay.
No, that sounds very much like folklore. And you know
Well,
how much I love that game.
that's how Aria of Sorrow works. That's how Dawn of Sorrow works, and that's how Bloodstained works.
Interesting.
So you should play at least one of those. Have you played Bloodstained?
Yes. I liked the NES one, but I didn't like
that's
the.
right.
Yeah, I didn't like the.
Well,
modern
you're welcome,
one.
because part of the reason you got that is because I backed the game's Kickstarter.
Oh, cool.
And helped push it to that stretch goal to get the NES style spin-off.
Yeah, that one I really loved. Yeah,
Yeah.
It was really fun.
Yeah. So it's got that. Every time you defeat an enemy for the first time that you haven't acquired their echo, you can go to where they died and pick it up. It's like a little image of them floating there.
That's cool.
There's a lot of ways to solve problems, which I really like, including ways that completely bypass what is obviously the intended solution, but they basically approach this with the same philosophy that they did to Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, which is if you can figure out a way to circumvent our intended route, go for it. That's your reward for figuring out some clever solution. So there's been a lot of places where I've been stacking beds just partially on one another.
Just like they did in the trailer.
Yeah, to
Made
create
staircases.
create a staircase. I've been doing that a lot. There's been a lot of trampolines that I bounce on and then place a trampoline on the higher location and then bounce to that, and just chaining trampolines. I just recently, like within the last hour of play, you know how there's always a dungeon in a Zelda game where the tiles come out of the ground and they spin around and then fly at you?
Yep.
I just got that echo, so I'm gonna be once I complete this dungeon, I'm going to be surfing around the overworld on those. That's going to be a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. So you can even you know how things are often separated by like large groups of trees and it's just impenetrable terrain. You can get on top of those now.
Cool.
If you can find a way to get on them, you can get on them. So you can just walk around the top of a small forest. So you can go pretty much anywhere.
That's cool.
Also, here's something unusual for a top-down Zelda game. You can jump.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's not an item, it's just a thing you can do.
I feel like there was one Zelda game where you could jump in a 2D Zelda, but I
Link's
don't.
Awakening. It had the feather.
Right, the feather. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But this is just a thing that you can do whenever. Although you cannot jump as high as you could in Link's Awakening with the Rock's Feather, you can, if you think of like the size of like a square in a Zelda game.
You can jump over a square, basically.
No, you can't. You can only jump over half a square.
Oh, that's odd.
But that's what encourages you to use a lot of the things like tables and beds and trampolines to...
So what's the reason for the jump button then?
Just make things a little bit faster and to have you be able to get up on top of very low things. Like you can't just step up onto a table. If you start to run against it, you'll push it.
Oh, I see. So that's
so
to get up on top of
it's for stuff
things.
like that.
Gotcha.
And there are small ledges that are just part of the terrain that you can jump up, presumably because they knew it would be annoying if you had to put a table for each one. So it's just about getting around things a little bit faster. You can't really use it to avoid enemies.
Can you change your camera angle, or is it fixed?
You can click down the right button to get a full top-down look, but you can't spin it around.
Okay.
There are also side-scrolling sections, like in Link's Awakening.
Yeah, I saw that in the trailer.
And
cool.
And of course, this game is using the art and presumably the engine from the Link's Awakening remake as well.
Yeah.
Including some things about that I didn't like.
Apparently the frame rate's pretty choppy.
Yes, that's one of the things I'm going to talk about. So the first thing is the blur around the edges of the screen, which was really aggressive in the Link's Awakening remake, and I was hoping they'd either remove it or dial it back for this game. They've done neither.
Ugh.
It's really extreme, to the point that if an enemy is small enough, they can become indistinct in that blur. You can see that there's an enemy there, but you won't be able to tell what enemy it is because they're not... Like, something big like a moblin, which will characteristically like have a sword or a spear, you can tell because, okay, that's a shape of something humanoid and it's holding something. It's probably a moblin with a sword, right? But for some of the smaller, less defined enemies, it's kind of tricky to tell what they are until you get up close, which is kind of a pain. But the other thing is the performance. Digital Foundry has a video up that I have not watched yet, but I kind of don't need to, because the frame rate in the game alternates between being really good and really terrible. And I think it's a VSync thing. The Digital Foundry video will probably answer that.
Yeah.
But I think it's a VSync thing because there's a few different ways of doing vertical sync, and some of them involve cutting the frame rate in half in order to allow the screen refresh rate and the drawing of new frames to line up again. Because VSync is used when those two things don't line up perfectly, and it creates, the tearing artifacts in the middle of the screen. But yeah, some of those VSync methods do involve just cutting the frame rate in half, and that's what it feels like. It feels like, oh, you're beautiful, smooth 60, and then suddenly you're down to like a weird, choppy 30-ish for 2 seconds, and then you're back. It happens often. Like, if it was just once in a while, I wouldn't care, but it happens often enough that it's like, guys, come on. You're not drawing that much on screen at once.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to the Switch is just not good anymore.
Well, I think it's more a fact of just how many effects they're throwing onto this, because this game is like really intense with the shader effects. Like it has, like I said, it's the Link's Awakening remake art style, which is sort of like a diorama. Yeah. So it's very cartoonish, but things have very realistic textures to them. Like the leaves on the trees have like all the shininess and particular sheen that a leaf on a tree would have. And then like the sand has that gritty look. And then of course, if it's raining, now everything needs to have that wetness shader on it. And they're really piling on a lot of effects, and I think it might just be a little
buckling
too much.
under the weight.
Yeah. And it doesn't buckle for too long. And it never affects the gameplay, but it's just kind of like, guys, you were so close to perfect performance. Why couldn't you just turn off VSync and let the frame rate take a hit down to like 50 frames per second? Because like, would tearing be there? I mean, yeah, I guess, but it wouldn't be. The frame rate was way more noticeable than any screen tearing would ever be.
Well, apparently the frame rate is locked or is not locked to 60. It's just unlocked. So maybe they should have locked it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, if they're struggling to hit 60 in some places, there's not much that a lock could do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it has more to do with their method of like I said, I'm pretty confident that it's VSync. I'll have to watch the DF video to know, because they'll know way more about that than I will. But it feels like the kind of frame rate VSync issue that you see in games that have that.
Yeah. I have such a backlog of Nintendo Switch games at this point, just because they're always they so rarely go on sale that I very rarely buy them anymore. Because
this game was $90 Canadian after tax.
And pretty much all of their first party games are $90, including their remakes.
Yeah.
And so I don't buy them very often anymore, unless it's like a triple A.
This was a must-have. This was a must-have for me.
Yeah, it's
this
not
game
quite...
is the reason that I didn't run out and buy Final Fantasy 16 after playing the demo. Because I can't miss Stalker. Stalker is a game I've been looking forward to for like a decade, so that one is immovable. So I basically had to choose in the budget between Final Fantasy 16 and Zelda, and I was like, well, Final Fantasy 16 was pretty good, and I'll get to it eventually, but I really want to try this new Zelda game because it looks really neat. And surprise, it is.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's fantastic, and I definitely will play it. But I have a feeling that I'm hoping, because I have such a large backlog at this point of Switch games, my hope is that these games will run better on Switch 2.
Yeah, that it'll have like a backwards compatibility.
Yeah,
but
and I'll be able to play them, and they won't have these problems. Yeah,
like improve, like you get on the Xbox One X
Game
or the
Boost.
PS4 Pro. Yeah, just smooths out the frame rate because it's a faster processor and stuff like that. Yeah.
Now it is Nintendo, so they've never done that before. So we'll see.
Well,
it's my hope.
Well, I guess this isn't a backwards compatibility thing. It's more of a, because Metroid Prime on the Switch runs, or on the Switch, on the Wii, pardon me, runs better than it does on the GameCube. But I think that's only if you're playing the Wii version.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the GameCube version can utilize the extra memory and processing speed of the... I mean, when I say that, I want to be clear. It's not a frame rate thing with Metroid Prime. Metroid Prime is a solid 60 all the way through without a hitch anywhere. I've never seen any performance issues in that game. It's when you activate the doors, because the doors are loading screens.
Yeah,
the doors are disguise the loading screens. That's why in the GameCube version, sometimes you're waiting 5 seconds for those doors to open.
Or more, yeah.
Even
I
after you've shot
being like,
them.
why aren't you opening?
Yeah, because it's got to load the next area. Otherwise, it's going to open into a blank void.
A void.
But because the Wii version has like twice as much memory to work with, it can preload those areas much faster and hold them in memory longer, so that you if you go back and forth between rooms, you don't have to worry about those load times. Whereas on the GameCube version, like, the room you just left is purged from memory once you walk too far into the next one, because they need that memory for everything that's in the current room.
Yep.
As for sort of final thoughts on Zelda,
obviously you would recommend it by the sounds of it.
Oh, I definitely recommend it. Anybody?
I wanted to ask, how's the music?
Music's fantastic. It's a Zelda game. It's hardly worth asking. It's there's a lot of new stuff in there, a lot of melodic stuff, and then there's your versions of
remix
the classic,
of classics.
You got your classic Zelda theme in there, and it'll be like, oh, it's played slowly for this scene, or whatever.
You're at the Gerudo Valley. Is it got the classic?
It does not have the N64 music in it. No. Maybe when I clear up the riffs that are in there, because that's kind of upbeat music. Maybe when I clear the riffs, they'll have the Gerudo Valley theme, that like the Spanish guitar thing going on. Yeah, I love that music too. That's so one of my favorite pieces from that game.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, music is top notch, as it always is in every Zelda game. For people who were saying you should give Zelda a sword, there is kind of a sword in this game. It is a, I'm only going to talk about this because it's something you get very early on. This is something you get at the end of the game's tutorial dungeon, basically. If you think of something that you would get at the end of the Deku Tree in Ocarina of Time, this is that dungeon. It's the starter and effectively the tutorial dungeon. You do get Link's sword. You do find it, and you do gain the ability to use it. It is a temporary thing. You have an energy meter. You basically transform into sort of a ghostly Link Zelda hybrid. It's like you've got like a ghostly image of Link overlapping Zelda's model kind of thing.
Weird.
And you can use the sword and hit enemies with it like a normal Zelda game for as long as that energy bar lasts. So if you do have a moment, it's basically your panic button, where if you have a moment where you're like surrounded by enemies and you just need to fight them normally, you can do that. But generally it's more interesting to fight them with the echoes. I do wish that the echoes were a little easier to distinguish. They do have a slight sort of golden glow to them, but it's a little bit difficult to see. I wish that they were like a palette swap or something, so that you could very easily tell the difference between your moblin and the actual moblins, because or worse, you remember the spiky sea urchin things from Link's Awakening? You have to push them out of the way with the shield at the beginning of the game. Yeah, you can get those. That's actually a pretty early one you get, and they look basically identical to the enemy ones, but they don't hurt you if they're yours. So it would really help if there was something a little more.
It's like Minesweeper.
Yeah. It's you kind of want a little more than just a very gentle glow. They do glow bright yellow when you go next to them, but that's to tell you like, hey, this is the one you're targeting when you hit the cancel echo button to cancel, because you have the little like. It's not a fairy, it's a little spirit thing. It's called Tri, and it's the little partner that you've got in the game. You've seen it in the trailer. And Tri has little triangles as its tail, and the more of those that you have, the more echoes you can summon, and different echoes use different amounts. So like a simple thing will take 1, a more complex thing will take 2, an even more complex thing will take 3, and so on. So you do have a budget of how many things you can spawn, and so you will want to be able to dispel them so that you can regain that capacity. And they do glow bright yellow when you're right next to them to tell you that this is the one you'll be canceling. But I kind of wish they had a more prominent glow or an outline or a different color palette or something, because in the heat of the moment it can be kind of difficult to keep track of which are yours and which are an enemy. But yeah, so I'm playing my way through it. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I'm looking forward to playing more. I'm going to be doing that as soon as we're done recording.
I was going to say, as soon as we're done, someone's going back and playing
Zelda. We're going to be having our post-show chat about what we're going to do for next week, and I'm going to be on it while we're doing that.
Absolutely. Cool. Yeah, I can't wait to play it. Should be fun. Mm-hmm. But it'll be a while, I think.
Yeah.
I have been playing Star Wars Outlaws. I know either last week or the week before I said that I was going to wait for them to patch it before playing it. But I couldn't help myself. I wanted to play something new. It's been a while since I played something new, and so I started it up. And I'm still playing it, so that's a good thing.
That's a good sign, yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably 8 or 9 hours in, I want to say. But I can understand the negativity surrounding the game.
Oh yeah?
There's just some strange problems with it. What it does really well for me is putting you in the Star Wars universe.
Okay.
It's visually very cool looking.
Okay.
And some of like the wind effects are like just fantastic. The way like the trees move and the brush on the ground moves, like it's very, very visually.
Yeah, I love environmental effects like that when they're done well.
Just looks so cool. But I feel like they sold, the way they advertised the game was that it was an open world RPG. right?
Mm-hmm.
And it is, but it's also not.
Okay, and in what way?
So so it is open world. There are at present time where I am, there are 4 planets that you can visit once you get your ship.
Okay.
Um, but oh, okay. So basically, this game is 3 different games in one, and it's basically a jack of all trades but a master of none. That's the way that I would put it.
All right.
So it is part stealth game, which I never would have like anticipated from the trailers and the way that the game was shown.
Yeah.
It's part shooter, third-person
course.
shooter, which I did get from the
Of course,
trailers.
it's a Star Wars game.
Yep. And then it's part light RPG. So the gameplay loop basically is that so there's always a main mission.
Mm-hmm.
The general idea of the game, without spoiling any story spoilers, is that you are tasked with recruiting a crew for your ship, and each of the planets has someone to recruit
Okay.
for your crew. So there's always a main mission to do, but there's also like 1,000 other things you can do.
Sure. This is Ubisoft, right?
Yeah, this is a new
So yeah,
game.
there'll be a billion different collectibles and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so so as far as like I'll focus on each one here. So as far as an RPG goes, yeah, you're going to be talking with people. There's a reputation system in the game, so
Okay.
if you do jobs for the Pikes, for example, your reputation will go up. If you do jobs for the Crimson Dawn or the Hutts, or there's a fourth faction that I can't remember right now. I just met them, but they all have these factions, and you have a reputation with them that goes from neutral all the way down to I think it's like hunted, basically,
Yeah.
like they want you dead.
Yeah.
All the way up to excellent, which is where you're super friendly and you can actually walk into their territory. They'll be like, "Yeah, come on in," but if you aren't good with them, they'll be like, "Nope,
Yeah.
stay out." And if you go in there, you can interact with their shops and stuff and get specific gear that you can't get with anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to make decisions all the time. Like if, say, I did a mission where I had to go rescue the Crimson Dawn hired me to go rescue a spy that was caught by the Hutts. They were spying on the Hutts, and I had to go rescue this spy. When you rescue them, you can either give them back to the Crimson Dawn, or you can hand them over to the Hutts and screw over the Crimson Dawn. Like there's always these choices of who you help, who you screw over, and it's usually that the worst option is usually the one where you get the most rewards for it.
Ah, okay.
So you get more money, and you usually get like some sort of extra item or some
So
sort of
this
reward.
game incentivizes you to be a dick.
Yeah, and which makes sense because the whole nature of the game is you're playing a Han Solo-like character.
Yeah, you're an outlaw.
You're a scum. Yeah, you're a scumbag. So it's all about balancing the reputations of all these people. Because if you get to the point where you're hunted by one of the factions, it's bad. You'll get ambushed by like 16 guys all of a sudden
Jesus.
when you're out in the middle of the open world. Which leads me to the shooter aspect of it, which is very basic. It's very basic shooter. There's no real cover system. You basically just duck behind cover. Like it's not like Gears of War or anything like that. You're just ducking behind cover. And you really only have a pistol that has 3 different modes on it that you can switch between. So just your regular blaster mode. You've got this like electric ion blaster mode, which is usually used for like shields and droids and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then you've got this like charge up mode that it's not really an explosive, but it's pretty close. It's like a supercharged shot. And they all kind of are good against different enemies and different.
They've got like a rock paper scissors type thing going on.
Kinda, yeah. Not that deep though.
Yeah.
A lot more basic.
Oh, more basic than rock paper scissors.
Yeah, like it's like.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's not deep and it's not great. You definitely don't want to play this as a shooter. I'll put it to you that way.
Oh, that's disappointing. There's no like thermal detonators or anything like that.
There are grenades,
Okay.
but at the moment, from what I've used them for, they're very underpowered. Like, I threw one in right next to three people, and it exploded, and it knocked them all back, but it didn't kill any of them. And I was
Okay.
like, why would that not have killed them? That's really
Okay.
stupid.
There's nothing worse than unsatisfying grenades.
Yeah, you're basic. It almost feels like you're supposed to feel weak because the game incentivizes you to be stealthy, which brings me to the stealth part,
Oh.
which is also half baked.
Oh.
So your stealth is basically you can crouch, which makes you harder to see. You don't have a way of telling the view.
Like the vision cone of
The vision cone, you don't have a
yeah.
way of seeing that, so you kind of have to just learn it as you go of how close you can get to someone who's looking in your direction before
Yeah.
they see you. And then there's like high grass that you can hide in.
Of course.
Otherwise, that's basically all there is to the south. There's like
So there's no like Splinter Cell style. You're in this much light, which means
No.
you're visible from this far away. There's no
No.
camouflage like in Metal Gear Solid 3.
no, I think there's a noise meter, but if it is a noise meter, I was never told that it was a noise meter. It's like this little thing in the
I
bottom
said
corner.
Splinter Cell. I should have said Thief because Thief did it first. But you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah, but I know what you mean, though. Yeah, there's nothing like that. The only thing that really is different about it that gives you an edge is Nyx, the little creature that follows you around.
Oh yeah,
You can send it into distract
of course.
people or cameras.
Like the dog in MGS5.
Yeah, he kind of just walks over and acts all cute, and they're like, "What the hell? Where'd this thing come from?" And
Yeah.
you can sneak by while they're distracted, or you can use Nyx to attack enemies. He doesn't kill them, but he like starts. You know, he it's basically like a distract where you can get up and beat the shit out of him melee.
Yeah,
attacks,
it's a hey, look over there, or a oh god, get this thing off my face
Yes.
kind of distraction.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Nyx can also steal items from people's pouches, which is a really bad system as well. It's very half baked as well because basically all you do is you tell Nyx where to like who to steal from. He goes up and just it's so bad. There's this jump. This is an animation where he literally jumps and kicks off of their back, and they clearly notice that something just jumped off their back. But then they're like, "Oh, I guess that was nothing." And then Nyx just comes back and gives you an item that was on.
God.
So it's not. You have to press like L1 within like a second, but it's very easy.
Oh.
So there's like no skill to it. It's just like steal from as many people as you want. I guess it's not gonna cause you any problems. So it's half baked as well. And then
It sounds like they kind of wanted to make a few different games, but weren't sure which one they wanted to do.
exactly. And then there's a few missions that are the infuriating. If you get caught, you fail.
Oh, mandatory stealth missions. Yeah.
Yeah, which they've addressed in a forum post that says that they're going to tweak that. I don't know what that means, but that update does not come until November 21st or something like that.
Jesus.
So it's not exactly soon.
No.
So yeah, it does a lot of different things, but none of them are like excellent. But yet I'm still playing it. And I don't know why. It's almost like this. It's almost like the sum of the parts
It's
is not
better than doing nothing.
Well, I mean, I have other games to play, but this one seems to be pulling me
What's
in
new?
more. Oh, which is the other thing. She's a terrible character.
Oh yeah.
Her. No offense to the voice actress. It's not her fault.
It's just badly written.
Yeah, like she's basically. I don't. You would think that playing a outlaw character would be like playing a Han Solo, like where they're fairly smart, but they also make mistakes. You know, like Han Solo, basically.
Han Solo makes some really big mistakes.
Yeah, but he never comes across as stupid.
No.
And she comes across as dumb and completely inexperienced all the time. Just the way she says things. She's like, she even like scratches her head in animations all the time. She's like, and I'm just like, that I don't feel cool playing you.
Yeah.
You know, I should feel cool playing a game called Star Wars Outlaws.
You gotta nail that. If you're playing a badass outlaw, like imagine if you were playing as Boba Fett and he's like, I don't know, what should I do here, guys?
Yeah,
like
that's
no, man.
You get total amateur vibes from her, and maybe that was what they were going for, but That's not how the game was presented to me in the trailers
Yeah.
and all that. It was like, you're a badass outlaw, and it's like, no,
You
you're not.
can do goofy, like doofus criminal, but it has to be in a sort of comedic
Yeah,
setting,
and
this
it's
isn't
all
really
the
that.
time in this game.
Oh
It's
god.
not like it's like every other mission or something like that. It's like every time she talks, you're like,
Sounds like they were trying to make 4 different types of games.
yeah, it's very odd. And I've only met 2 members of the crew so far, but they're kind of unlikable as well. Like they're
Yeah.
just kind of there. The relationship between her and Nyx is really cool though. The pet that's always with you, so that's cool. Lando Calrissian's in the game, not voiced by the real voice actor. I can't remember
Which
his
is
name.
a shame. Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams. Yeah.
Which is weird because they got him for Jedi Outcast. He shows up for like 1 level in that game, and they got him to reprise that role for that game.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't looked up the cast to see if it's him, but if it is him, it doesn't sound like him at all.
You'd probably be able to tell.
Yeah. The one thing I'm kind of addicted to though in the game is Sabacc, which
Is
is
that like a
the
mini
card
game?
game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, of course.
It's basically poker, but you only have 2 cards and 3
Interesting.
turns to get the best hand that you can. At first, I was really pissed off and frustrated by it because I had no idea why I was losing. And then once you get it, you're like,
Once you figure
oh.
it out.
It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
that kind
I
of
like
stuff
this.
can be addicting, and I totally can see why like they spun off Gwent into its
Yeah.
own game because
It's definitely not that deep.
I
but-
never got into Gwent in Witcher 3. I was like, I don't
either.
want to take like I'm not playing The Witcher 3 to play Magic the Gathering. I'm playing it to hunt down monsters and stab them with my sword.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to play the game within the game. For me, the game is the game.
Exactly.
But I know that there are people who've got really into Gwent,
Yep.
so I totally understand why they made a standalone Gwent game.
Yeah, I'm hit or miss when it comes to like these mini games that they put into big games. Like I played the crap out of Blitzball, as we know, and I played the crap out of Liar's Dice in Red Dead Redemption.
I mean, some of them are good, and some of them are Blitzball. We have already gone over this. You and I have
Yeah.
very different opinions of Blitzball.
Yeah, please see the Press Pause Extra.
Yeah. Oh.
Um,
I'm gonna have to get you to come over and just do the Blitzball section for me.
I don't think I could ever do it again. It's such a long journey to get to the point where it's fun. That's the problem. That's where they screwed up. Yeah, there's also like you can bet on races, like those
Sure.
creature like horse races kind of things. There's lots of little side stuff you can do. It's pretty cool at first how you gain. So basically, like it's not like Assassin's Creed where the overworld map is just suddenly full of dots,
No.
of icons. You
Yeah.
you have to go to the town. Like each planet has a city or a town that you go to, and in that town, you find intel by eavesdropping on people's conversations,
All right.
finding data paths, sneaking into rooms, and
Sure.
doing all that kind of stuff, and that makes icons appear on the
Yeah,
map.
like that makes sense. That's the
Yeah.
way it should be done.
Yeah.
Ubisoft. I'm
So I
glad
do-
you're learning.
Yeah, exactly. So I do like that part. That part's pretty cool. Although it does get a little bit dry the longer you do it, because like, it's very cool the first like 15 times you eavesdrop on a conversation, but then at a certain point you're like,
You just
well, I
want
know
it
what.
to pop on your map.
Yeah, this is just going to pop something on my map. I don't
Yeah.
really, I'm not really invested at this point.
Yeah.
So, there's so many like cool ideas, but they
But
don't.
they're not always executed well.
But they're not all executed well. In fact, most of them are not executed great.
That's unfortunate.
It's almost the perfect definition of a 7 out of 10,
Yeah.
where it's like this is a good game, but it could be way.
It's just
better.
good.
It's
and
just good.
And it's got so much potential that's left on the table.
Yeah.
That's almost worse than being a bad game in some ways. Like when a game is so close to being good, you're just like,
Yeah.
oh, I can see it. I can see.
I can see where they were going.
I can see the other side of the fence, and it looks even better. But
Yeah.
you just couldn't quite get over there.
Oh, and I didn't talk about the other thing. The last thing I wanted to talk about was the abilities. So, in most like RPGs, you gain abilities by leveling up. There's no leveling up system in this game. Essentially, what you do is you meet contacts within the game, usually through some sort of mission, and So like one of the first ones you meet is the Slicer, and she teaches you how to hack into like doors and
Okay.
computer terminals and stuff like that. So she gives you an ability by doing a mission, and then once you have her unlocked, she has a series of abilities that you can unlock by doing things that are related to what she's good at.
Yeah.
And
So
then you
proving
unlock
you
them
can
that way.
do it, and then they give you the ability to do it better.
Exactly. And each character has
that's
like
actually a
6 or 7.
That's a good way of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Lando is one of the people. I
Okay.
have not unlocked him yet, but he's on my like to do a mission list.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's like 8 of those characters, maybe 9, because there's like it's like a bunch of portraits, and then there's one in the center that's blacked out. So I'm wondering if there's like a secret,
Yeah.
person to meet. But yeah, like I know I've sounded pretty negative about it because it's there's a lot to say that's negative about it.
Yeah.
But I'm still playing it,
Yeah.
and I haven't really figured out what it is that's pulling me. Because
Just enough of it works that it's like, yeah, I'd kind of like to see more of this.
yeah, and a big part of me really wants to wait until they do that big patch in November, but I'm so far into it at this point that I'm like,
It's a while to wait.
that's such a long time. Like other games might come along and just I'll never come back to it if I don't finish it. So yeah, but I'm enjoying it.
Ish. I see a huge asterisk next to that word.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
Enjoying it with qualifications.
Yeah, like you're constantly reminded of how things could be better in this game. That's the problem.
Well, on the other hand, at least it's not EA Battlefront with its tons of microtransactions.
Yeah, so it is not a bad game. This is not Suicide Squad.
It's a step up.
Yeah, I've had people tell me this game is trash, and that it is definitely not true.
They're not looking around and seeing what's actually trash out there.
Yeah, if you are vaguely interested in the game, I would play it.
This is the kind of thing where it's like, I wish this is what the definition of trash was in this industry.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if this is the worst that we had, we'd be doing pretty good.
Yeah, I would not have regretted it had I bought this game.
Okay.
For those that don't know, I won this game.
Yeah, so, you won that in a contest.
Yeah, I would not have been mad that I won it.
I mean, that's a pretty good endorsement, is that I like it, because a big part of it is, well, how much did you pay for it? And if you got it for free, you might not be feeling so burned by it. But if you're telling me, yeah, I would have been not irritated if I'd paid money for this.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
I've bought games where I play them and for like 3 or 4 hours, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, God,
this
that's
just
the
isn't
worst.
happening.
That's the worst. Especially because the Steam refund period is 2 hours of play.
Oh, and PlayStation doesn't have one, so.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, that's not true. They do have a refund policy, but like, you have to have been like ripped off in some way. It's not like, I didn't like it, I can return it.
Apparently not even then, because not somebody I follow, but it got retweeted into my feed. Somebody bought the season pass for like one of the Street Fighter games after having bought a bunch of the DLC individually, thinking that it was the new season pass and it was the old, and they're not getting refunded.
Oh, and that's bullshit.
PlayStation, they've been in touch with PlayStation, and they've been told that they don't offer refunds for that. And if they dispute the charge on their credit card, they'll just get their PSN account banned.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, they need a better refund policy. They really do. Like, all they have to do is be like, you know what? If you have less than an hour of gameplay time, since you bought this thing, or bought this DLC, or if you for a game, if you have less than an hour, then you can return it. Any more than that, and no. And that makes sense to me. It's like if you are not
the
sure,
wrong thing. Yeah,
you would be pretty sure that you bought the wrong thing, or oh crap, this is a garbage piece of trash game that I should not have bought. You're gonna know it within an hour.
Yeah.
So,
well, there is actually, although this might be in your news docket, there is a new law in California that might lead to this, because there's apparently now digital storefronts have to use more accurate language with regards to purchasing things.
It's not in my news docket, but I do remember seeing that. Yeah.
They have to make it clear that you are purchasing a license to a digital game that can be revoked. If it's something that like, if PlayStation says, hey, this game is no longer playable, you can't even play it offline anymore, then when they sell it to you on the PlayStation Store, they have to say you're not buying this game, you're buying a license to play this game.
Yeah, makes sense.
Which actually is happening right now with The Simpsons Tapped Out. It's going to be shut down in January.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, it's been around for like a decade, but...
Yeah, there's another game that they're shutting down soon, too, Hood.
I don't even know that one.
It's like that Robin Hood online game.
I've never even heard of that.
No?
I have no idea.
Yeah, you play as a bunch of different factions in the Robin Hood universe and have to, like...
Do you mean England?
Well, no.
The Robin Hood cinematic universe. England.
Well, like, yeah, basically. Well,
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
The different little factions that they had in that. Yeah.
But it's just that it's funny that you referred to that as a universe.
I know. I played the game. It's not really great, so I'm not surprised that it's being shut down.
Has there ever been a good Robin Hood game?
No.
Like, I'm just trying to think.
No.
Wasn't there like an NES game based on that Kevin Costner movie? Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I remember there were a bunch of action figures for toys of things that were never in the movie.
Yeah, I don't remember a game, but
I'm sure there probably was.
I'm sure there was a tie-in piece of
There
crap
should be a
somewhere.
Robin Hood Men in Tights video game, complete with a musical section. Where you have to do the Men in Tights dance. And it's like Dance Dance Revolution or something. It's like a rhythm game.
That'd make me sad.
You get to play as Carrie Elves and Dave Chappelle.
Oh my god.
I love that movie so much.
Ugh. Alright. Well, I mean, we've already started talking about news, so let's move
Well,
into...
hold on.
Oh.
What about the time?
The time?
The time.
Oh, I switched to Discord to grab the timestamps, if that's what you're referring to.
No. The letter time.
Oh, yeah, good point. It's letter time! It's letter time. However, there is no letter this week.
Oh, there is no letter this week.
No, but I do have something in its place.
Oh.
So I'm part of a couple of Discords, gaming Discords and wrestling Discords and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I'm seeing a lot of people talking about is the rumors that haven't been, like, confirmed, but, like, they seem to be pretty concrete at this point, that both Xbox and PlayStation are likely to have a handheld in the next generation. Potentially, that interact with each other, so a la Switch-esque. So, like, if you have an Xbox... I don't know, what are we going to call the next Xbox? What's another stupid name they can come up with?
I don't know.
Xbox Bonus Quadruple Z.
They could just call it Xbox. No Xbox One, no 360, no Series. Just really confuse the shit out of things by just calling it Xbox.
They could just, be smart and call it... What would it be? Xbox 4 or 5?
It'd be 5.
Xbox 360 One Series, yeah. It'd be Xbox. Just call it Xbox 5. Just get on the name, get on the number train. It's annoying.
Apparently,
I know why they don't want to do it.
Yeah, because there'd be one less than PlayStation. That's what I've heard, at least.
But who cares?
I don't know if that's true, but I mean, it's the
I guarantee you that's true.
It's the kind of stupid corporate marketing logic that would absolutely make sense. So
absolutely.
I choose to accept it as a valid answer.
150%. When the PlayStation 3 came out and they're like, we're 360, bitch. It's like, okay, whatever, bro.
Man, the Xbox 360 was a really good system.
It was, except for all the red rings.
Well, I never had a red ring, so
I had 2.
my opinion of it is somewhat different. I just got lucky and never had one.
Very lucky, yeah. But yeah, the rumor is that both Xbox and PlayStation are going to have a handheld tie-in with their next generation consoles.
Well, I mean, PlayStation did. They had 2, in fact. As much as they'd like you to forget about that second one. As much as they forgot about that second one, apparently.
And this is my problem, right? Is like I like the idea of them having a PlayStation 6 and a PlayStation 6 portable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a Steam Deck equivalent, where it almost like an Xbox Series X versus the Series S, but the Series S is a handheld.
Mm-hmm.
I would be totally cool with that. I'd be like all over that. That's totally cool. Be like, okay, I can just transfer my saves and play on the go when I need to. Like, that would be really, really cool. Yeah, it's expensive because you have to buy two things, but it would be really cool. But I think if I had to guess, I would say PlayStation's not going to do that, but Xbox is. And here's why. Xbox has the advantage of being Microsoft, so they could just make their friggin' Xbox handheld a Windows machine.
Yeah.
And it just becomes a PC.
I mean, there was talk of an Xbox handheld back in, like, 2003.
Yeah. There was rumors just recently because Phil Spencer addressed him, and he's
and
he obviously...
it was one of those things where I think Microsoft might have even said they had like a prototype, and then they just decided not to move forward, because I mean that happens all the time. That happens all the time. I guarantee at some point there's been a prototype handheld Xbox branded platform, and Microsoft has just said we don't want to compete with ourselves or something, because
just like HoloLens.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's funny that Microsoft saw that was a bad idea, but Apple didn't.
Well, because every company that makes hardware has a million prototypes that never go anywhere.
Yeah,
because that's how they learn. Like, oh, now that we've actually held it and used it, it actually kind of sucks. So we're not going to turn this into a product. Yeah. But as for actually doing it, I mean, I almost kind of think they're going to have to, because
Xbox.
Well, anybody, because going up trying to go up against the Switch, trying to go up against mobile phones with how powerful they are,
and PC and a Steam Deck kind of combo.
Like you just having a game console that has to be plugged into the wall and sat next to a TV, it's kind of a losing proposition in this day and age. I mean, the sales of game consoles relative to everything else is going down. You know, mobile phones obviously do more, but that's also why they sell more. PCs do more, which is why they sell more. The Switch does the same stuff. It plays games, but it's cheaper and it's handheld. Like, it's not hard to see why PlayStation and Xbox are struggling relative to that. It's because they cost a lot and they technically have less functionality, even though they're more powerful than the Switch. But that obviously hasn't affected the sales of the Switch.
No.
Which is at like 142 million units sold now, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely going to oversell the Wii.
It's already oversold the Wii.
Or what's the number one? PS2?
PS2 with about 156 million, and then DS with 154.
Maybe it won't. I don't know. This holiday season will be it.
Well, it's like we talked about before. If they massively discount it to clear remaining units, or if they continue to sell it as a budget system after the Switch 2 comes out. Because remember, a lot of the PS2 sales kept going even after the PS3 came out.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to discount the price now because they revealed a new Mario Kart bundle.
Yeah, but how much is that bundle?
It's the same price as the Switch. It's like the standard price that it is now, $3.99.
So that's effective. I mean, that's basically the inverse of a discount. It's instead of discounting it, they're giving you more for the same price.
Yeah.
So
it's but I mean, like, I don't think that'll
Either way, they're
who
giving. Who
doesn't own Mario Kart, by the way?
That's true, but
I don't understand. I mean, I think it comes with the court or the booster pass, but I mean, still, like, who doesn't own a Switch and Mario Kart?
Well, the thing is, Mario Kart is a game that can be played by young children. My niece doesn't have her own Switch and copy of Mario Kart.
Oh, snap. That's true.
Like, there are children who, maybe weren't old enough to play video games when the Switch came out, but now they're old enough that a Switch...
They already have, like, the Lite. You know what I mean? Like, the Lite's even cheaper. Like, why wouldn't you just... I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, there's options out there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying with like pretty much everybody has to have some sort of handheld at this point. But it can't be a dedicated handheld. It's got to be something that's linked to your main platform.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think PlayStation's going to do it. They have a history of just their peripheral, not peripherals, but they're like their secondary systems just suck, or not even if they suck. They're all good. They don't support them.
Yeah.
I just plus, I mean, when you have the ability to have a PC and a Steam Deck, there's so much advantage to that. That's not just gaming.
Yeah.
And then on top of, then you have the Switch, which is cheaper, but you get the same sort of,
And it's also the only place to get Nintendo games.
and exactly. And then Xbox has the advantage of being Microsoft, so like I said, they can make a Windows-based Steam Deck type machine,
Yeah.
and branded Xbox. PlayStation doesn't have an advantage in that.
Maybe
category.
they'll make the PlayStation Vio.
Oh,
It'll
good
be
Lord.
it'll be one of their laptops that plays PlayStation games.
Yeah, I don't think that PlayStation's going to do the handheld thing. I would be shocked if they do. Plus, they have the Portal now, but I don't know if the Portal's going to support PS6. I don't know. There's a lot of weirdness in the gaming industry right now.
Mm-hmm.
And next generation could also be Xbox's last. So
I mean, it could. I kind of feel like it could be PlayStation's last as well. Like, I do think we'll see a PS6 and an Xbox, or whatever the fuck they want to call it. But will we see anything beyond that? Like,
oh yeah,
with
Sony's
how
not
long?
going anywhere.
Well, Sony isn't. But what about PlayStation? Like, what if they?
That
I
brand
don't
is
know.
so strong right now. It's crazy. The PS5 is at like 65, almost 70 million copies sold already. It's crazy.
Yeah, but
They still
I
have
mean,
4 years to go. So if they double that,
we're also seeing PlayStation games showing up on other platforms, like MLB.
oh
The
yeah,
Show
they're
and-
definitely branching out. But I mean,
Yeah.
think about it this way: if they win the console wars and it's just Nintendo and PlayStation, why like
yeah, but
if you want to play PlayStation games, you got to come here, boy. Like that's what they're gonna do. There's no way they're gonna be like, all right, we're just gonna publish everywhere. Like it's just I don't buy it.
I don't know. It depends how much money there is to be made. If there's more money to be made being a publisher and they don't have to make their own hardware. I mean, look at how well Sega's been doing since they went software only.
Yeah.
I mean, it was unthinkable 25 years ago that Sega would stop making hardware, but they did, and they've been doing really well since that. So who knows?
Yeah, it's also going to depend on pricing because, as we've seen with the PlayStation 5 Pro,
Oh,
consoles
geez.
are getting pricey, and I in my opinion, the console industry should not go away because if it does, then that means you have to buy a gaming PC and a Nintendo because I don't think Nintendo's going anywhere.
No.
They're kind of in a,
Nintendo will absolutely die on that hill.
yeah, like they're always going to be a hardware company. I cannot imagine a world where we play a Mario game on a PC or a PlayStation. It's
At
just
least
not.
officially, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, you know what I mean. Yes.
Plenty of Mario games on PC.
Yeah, not published on PC.
But that's a different thing. The furthest I think I could reasonably see Nintendo going is like becoming a phone company.
I mean, they tried the mobile stuff and it didn't work, so I don't think they're going to return to it. I mean, they have mobile stuff still, like they have the Pokemon stuff, but that's not really Nintendo.
Well, I mean, making their own phone.
Oh yeah, no way.
Who knows?
If they do that, oh my god.
I mean, the Switch is basically a phone. It's a Tegra X1.
The direction that Nintendo's going is more Disney to me,
Yeah.
where they're like branching out into like movies and TV
Yeah.
shows and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think that's where they're going.
Unrestrained litigation.
Yeah, suing the shit out of Pal World. Yeah, that game's in trouble, I think.
Yeah. Well,
we'll see.
I mean, look, that game needed more than just being Pokemon with guns. I honestly, I'm
Yeah.
not sure how well it's doing in general. I know there are people
It dropped
playing
off the face of the planet as far as like its initial boom. But
Well, sure, but
it's
I
doing
mean, that
decent.
was a flavor of the month thing.
Yeah. Well, I can probably. Let's see.
It's not doing Concord numbers though, so there's that.
Is it on Steam?
Oh yeah,
let's check what Power World's doing. Oh yeah, it's doing.
It doesn't need to have crazy numbers of concurrent players in order to be
Its
successful.
30-day average is 18,500
That's okay.
concurrent players, I should say, which is pretty good for a early access game.
Oh god, that's right. It's still in early access, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's a far cry from the 2 million that it had at launch. But I mean, like, every early
Everything
access
drops
game
off
yeah,
after
exactly.
launch.
All right, we have a lot of news to get in. We're at an hour already, so let's kick
holy shit, we
things
are.
off with the news. We have a lot to get through, so let's start things off with a sad note, just to get it out of the way. It's not really gaming related per se, but I would be remiss if we didn't mention that Maggie Smith passed away.
Yeah, I saw that.
Star of Harry Potter, Downton Abbey, and a million other things. She was 89 years old.
Quintessential British woman.
Yeah, super great actress. I don't know how she passed away.
I mean,
it just says she
age,
passed away peacefully in the hospital on Friday.
At her age, it could be anything.
Yeah, she was 89 years old, so who knows? Yeah. But yeah, fantastic actress. Rest in peace.
Long, illustrious career.
Yeah.
Very much like James Earl Jones. Like
exactly. Long life.
Yep.
Hopefully
very
it was a good one
person.
for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's move forward. For those that aren't aware, I tried to play this before the show, but I was just too hooked on Star Wars Outlaws in my free time. But there is a demo out on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC for Metaphor Fantasio, the new JRPG from the guys who did Persona. So check that out. I'm going to try and check it out so that I can report back on it next week.
Okay.
Persona is really one of the only series from a JRPG standpoint that I still follow and give a chance to, because Persona 4 Golden is one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
So I want to give this one a shot.
I liked Revelations: The Demon Slayer on the Game Boy Color.
Don't know what that one is.
It's another Shin Megami Tensei spin-off. Like Persona is.
Gotcha.
It's kind of like it's kind of like you remember Final Fantasy Legend, where you had monsters and they could eat the meat of other monsters and it could turn them into a new monster.
Good lord. That sounds scary.
Well, it's one of the Saga games, which is, like Saga Frontier. That's how that works in those games.
I think I missed the Saga series.
Oh, okay. Well, it's kind of like that, because you can talk monsters into joining your party, and then you can fuse them together to make more powerful monsters.
You confused them? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, the demo is pretty substantial. It includes the first 4 dungeons, the ability to unlock 7 of the 40 classes.
Jesus, that's a lot.
There's 6 party members that you meet. Like, it's pretty substantial. It's basically the entire prologue, from what I understand.
Did you play that SMT Fire Emblem spin-off, Tokyo Mirage Sessions? On the Wii?
I've only actually played one Fire Emblem game, and that was Awakening, I think.
I played a few of them.
Yeah, they're not... that tactics kind of game is not really for me. It's a little... It's too...
I mean, the first one I played was on an emulator, because this was before the series came to North America.
North America.
I played like one of the Super Nintendo ones way back in the day.
Yeah, no, it's never been a series I can get into. It seems like something I would have loved, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah,
but
maybe they should have brought it out earlier, because they made a bunch of those Fire Emblem games in succession, and everybody loved them. So.
Yep. And then they just kind of stopped. It's been a while since the last one, I think. Right?
Oh, I mean, it was the same thing with Kirby. They were making a Kirby game like every year for 5 years or something.
Yeah, and then there was a huge gap for Metroid too.
Yeah.
Couple of huge gaps, actually.
They have a number of huge gaps for Metroid games, and if it means that we get fewer Federation forces, I'm fine with it.
Exactly. Agreed. And Other M.
Yeah. Other M was at least fun to play.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, come on. Come on, man.
I hated that game, man. I played like 2 hours of it, and I was like, no,
jumping on top of enemies' shoulders and shooting them in the face? Come on, that shit's fun. I do wish that it wasn't played with the Wii remote, just turned on its side like an NES controller.
Yeah, you know what? That's something to think about. Is why haven't they? Well, we know why. I was gonna say why didn't they make that a Switch port, but we know why.
Give it like a real controller to use, and not have Samus be a little bitch who does what she's told, which is the complete opposite. Take of that. Take out like
90% of the story that no one cares about.
Oh, that game was. We can't get into other. We can't.
No,
it's gonna make me mad.
We gotta move on.
We don't have time for one of my rants today.
No, we have like 3 hours of news to get through.
One day I will bring a bottle of whiskey, and we can do the other M rant, because that's the only way I'm gonna.
Hey, it might make for a good press pause extra. A Metroid tier maker.
Oh, that won't last well. Yeah. Okay, we need to get off this subject.
Okay. Check out the demo. I'm going to try it. I'll report back next week. Next up, very strange piece of news here. Nintendo has sold one of its IP. Say what? The Wonderful 101 has been sold to Platinum Games.
Oh, they had a stake in that. Okay.
Originally released on the Wii U, but later remastered, I think, for the Switch in 2020.
That's good. That game needs to come to more platforms, because it's a good game and not enough people bought it because there weren't enough Wii U owners.
Yeah. It's I have to assume that Nintendo sold it because they don't see anything in it. But it was apparently a decent game.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good game. It was like Pikmin but violence.
Yeah, it had almost a Beautiful Joe aesthetic to it, didn't it?
Well, yeah, it was very deliberately an homage to Beautiful Joe, because a bunch of people at Platinum worked on that.
Exactly.
It was like, well, Capcom's never going to make a Beautiful Joe 3, so we might as well.
So then, why didn't they make a new Wolf game? I don't like it.
Well,
make a new Okami-like.
Yeah,
do it.
But Wonderful 101 is fun. You've got like dozens of guys in your superhero team, and you do attacks, and it's like you form a giant fist out of your superheroes, and they slam it, or they do a giant kick where they form into a giant.
I think I played the demo on Wii U.
Yeah, there was a demo.
Yep.
It's a fun game. Yeah. Bayonetta's in it.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. If I don't know if they're buying it to make a sequel or if they're buying it to
probably a PC port or multi-platform
port it to other platforms. Yeah. Next up, Assassin's Creed Shadows has been delayed 3 months. So it was originally scheduled.
They pulled out of TGS, and people were like, "That was weird."
Yeah.
And then, like a day later, they announced, it's delayed. Okay, of course it is. Yeah. Surprising no one.
Due out normally or previously on November 12th. It is now launching February 14th. In a statement, Ubisoft said it needs more time to polish and refine the experience, pushing further some of our key features, which is very interesting wording to me. To polish and refine the experience, I get, but pushing further some of our key features? So something not working properly?
I have no idea what they mean by that.
That's weird.
This close to even a delayed launch?
A month and a half away? That's very strange. Meanwhile, Ubisoft has confirmed that Assassin's Creed Shadows will also release day one on Steam.
That's nice. Are they going to require you to have a Uplay account?
Oh, probably.
Fuck that, then.
I'm pretty sure all of their games require a Uplay account.
Fuck that.
Is it Uplay or is it Ubisoft Connect now?
Whatever the fuck they call it.
Whatever their trash is.
If it requires you to have another launcher, then it's not really on Steam.
Yeah, I've said this before. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Bullshit.
I think Star Wars: The Old Republic does the same thing. You if you buy it on Steam, you have to open up Origin or whatever EA's bullshit is.
Which again means it's not really on Steam.
Yeah, it's so stupid. It says pre-orders will be refunded, and Ubisoft is departing from the traditional season pass model for Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yeah, they're giving you the season pass if you pre-order it.
Well, no. So with all future pre-orders, the first expansion is free.
Oh, the first expansion. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know what that means. So they're like, that doesn't seem like a good thing. That basically sounds like you're taking away the ability to get all of the expansions for a lower cost. That's what that sounds like.
Well, if they're giving it to you for free, then maybe them buying them piecemeal will end up being the same as getting the season pass.
Yeah, so it's like, why did you even bother with that?
Well, it's to make themselves look better.
I guess. Very weird. They also talked a little bit about Star Wars Outlaws, but I've already kind of talked about most of what I, during my little rant about Star Wars Outlaws.
The thing that kills me about Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I saw people talking about this on Twitter. I think it was Patrick Boyven who was talking about it on Twitter. Said that Ubisoft like resisted making an Assassin's Creed game in Japan for the longest time, and then now that they've decided to do it, there's a whole bunch of other similar games.
They waited too long.
Now we're living in a post Neo, post Ghosts of Tsushima, upcoming Ghosts of Yote world, like.
Yeah, and Rise of the Ronin and
Sekiro.
Yeah, like they waited way too long. It's very strange.
They waited
of all the times that they could have done this, they should have waited even longer. Why now?
They should have just done it right away. Like people were like, "Oh, make one. You should make one with ninjas. You should make one with ninjas." And they're like, "Nah."
But I mean, they knew that we wanted it, but you waited until a bunch of other games were made.
Yeah. You could have
should have waited even longer. You should have waited another 10 years before you did it.
You had the market totally to yourself, and you blew it.
Yeah, really stupid. The only thing I wanted to point out about Star Wars Outlaws is that it undersold, apparently. But they didn't release specific number. Moving on. A modder on Steam created a mod for God of War Ragnarok that bypasses the PSN requirement.
That's good.
However, he has since pulled it
That's
because
bad.
it became way too popular, and he was afraid that Sony would end up getting in touch with him. Which begs the question, why did you do it in the first place?
Maybe just to say, hey, this is a thing that is doable, and then, oh, fuck, everybody wants to do it.
Yeah, like, why didn't you just keep it for yourself? Very strange. So you can no longer get that mod. It has been pulled.
Well, I'm sure somebody will re-upload it.
That's definitely possible.
But Sony will probably patch like a way to block that mod at some point.
Yeah. So if you're playing God of War Ragnarok, stay offline.
Yeah.
if you have that mod. This one was really weird. I'm not really sure what to make of this. MetaQuest has announced a cheaper VR MetaQuest 3 headset called MetaQuest 3S, and it launches in October. It'll come in two SKUs, one with 128 gigabyte of internal storage for only $299 US, and another 256 gigabyte option for $399. The current pricing of the MetaQuest 3, I believe, is $550 Canadian, I think.
Yeah, but
when you look
at what those are capable of, like it's practically not worth it. Like if you look at the remake of Myst 3, the Steam version versus the MetaQuest version, it's like, God, it's like comparing an N64 game to an Xbox 360 game.
Yeah, but if you want to play it in VR, I mean, if you want a great VR experience without having to pay, what is the
Valve Index is like $900 or something.
Plus you need a PC that can actually run it.
Yeah.
So, but
I don't know. Have you seen what the comparisons look like?
Yeah, the MetaQuest 3 looks decent. I think it looks good.
I don't know, compared to the PC version.
Well, of course, but the PC version's like a fucking maxed out graphics ultra thing. Of course, it's not going to look as good as it. But
yeah, but Myst 3 is also one of those games where it's like Crysis. If you're going to play it, you're probably going to play it for the maxed out experience of like, oh my god, this is so cutting edge. You're not playing this for the gameplay.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people out there that. But yeah, but I mean, people don't buy VR specifically for Myst 3.
No,
they're buying it for Beat Saber. They're buying it for The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners. They're buying it for specific VR experiences, right?
I still think that Sony should just make PSVR 2 compatible with Windows. Just have it. Yeah, but it should have been there from the beginning.
Oh, what? Well, no. They wanted people to join the PlayStation ecosystem. I keep telling you that, man. That's what they want.
I would have
joined
the PlayStation VR ecosystem if it was PC compatible from the start.
No, that's not what they want, though.
It's cheaper than... Well, they could have either gotten some of my money or they could continue to get none of it.
It's true. Yeah, they don't know how
Concessions,
to
man.
they don't know how to position their
No.
second consoles. That's for sure.
No.
But I thought this was just really weird to make a lower tier MetaQuest 3. Like, so it's like a half step between MetaQuest 2 and 3, I guess.
I guess, but like anything that, not that I would ever buy a fucking Facebook product because they're gonna spy on absolutely everything you do with it to sell
Yeah,
you
you
money
need
to
a Facebook
advertisers.
account
Yeah, fuck that.
to do everything, which is annoying.
But like anything that makes the VR market more competitive in terms of pricing and thus helps bring down prices of the actual good headsets, I'm in favor of.
Yeah.
If Mark Zuckerberg wants to continue to throw more money into that hole and it makes other things cheaper, then I'm all for it.
There's definitely going to be I think a tipping point for VR where it's affordable enough for the masses to enjoy it, but
Yeah, but it's
also
like,
be like quality good. You know what I mean? And I don't think
it's taken a while to get there, though.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
I mean, the Oculus Rift came out like what, almost a decade ago?
It's been that long?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Been a while.
And it's still not really much more affordable than it was back then.
I should say that I had a PSVR, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Just not enough games for it.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. I complained last week about Xbox Game Pass not getting enough games this month. Well, they listened.
They remedied that, huh?
So September 24, 2024 now has the following games, and they're all out now. Age of Mythology Retold, Expeditions, a Mud Runner game, Riders Republic, Train Sim World 5, Wargroove 2, Frostpunk 2 on PC, Ara History Untold on PC, All You Need Is Help, We Love Katamari Reroll, and Royal Revelry. Good lord, that's hard to say.
I love Katamari Damacy so much.
Trials of Mana, the remake, and Legend of Mana.
That's a good game.
Remake.
The Trials of Mana remake.
Yeah, I tried it. It was pretty fun.
It's really good.
I didn't stick with it because it's still a JRPG, and I'm still not.
It's an action RPG.
Yeah, and they don't say the name of the moves constantly.
Yeah, that's a game where they could have really easily done it.
The music got on my nerves. It's got a very it's got a very Dragon Quest kind of soundtrack that I just hate, and I can't stand bad music in a JRPG because I'm listening to it all the time.
I love the music in that game.
Nope, couldn't do it. I like the gameplay. The characters were whatever, very, very, very cheesy.
This fucking guy.
This fucking guy.
I love the music in that game, man.
No, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. I mean, it's a great game. I'm not going to shit on it, but it's not for me. It's not for me. All right, moving on.
I should do a Secret of Evermore remake.
I bet you they will. I bet you they will.
Will they, though?
No. Moving forward, let's take a look. So, while PlayStation State of Play was on this past week, so was Tokyo Game Show, which I feel like in recent years is starting to not be as good as it once was.
Well,
I mean, I remember like in the mid 2000s, it was kind of like a
but keep in
post
mind
E3.
Keep in mind, we are in an era of a lot of people just revealing stuff online instead of waiting for a trade show. And also, there was a whole big pandemic thing that had people not gathering for a while, so they shaking the rust off. Yeah.
Yeah. So here are the announcements at Tokyo Game Show. Xbox had a sort of a short broadcast that didn't really announce a whole lot, but a couple of things were mentioned. They opened up with another trailer for Metal Gear Solid Delta, which I didn't watch because after I found out that the game is basically just a remaster with better graphics, I was like, it's not going to be for me. I wanted it to be like a ground-up remake, but like I said, I think we talked about it on the show, how it's still got like the loading screens between areas. It's not just one giant open area where it's not seamless. It's basically a one-to-one copy.
Yeah, if it was like, let's use the Metal Gear Solid 5 engine and rebuild the game in that, with that kind of fidelity and those kind of mechanics, that could have been really cool. Yeah. Not that MGS3 is a bad game, but it's like, if you're going to go to the effort.
then
why not
do it right.
Yeah, why not go all in?
Yeah. So I have no real interest in it. Some crap about My Hero Academia coming to Overwatch 2. Who cares?
Yeah.
Age of Mythology Retold is getting an expansion, I believe, called Immortal Pillars. You know, sure. Big one though, StarCraft Remastered and StarCraft 2 is coming to PC Game Pass. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
I've heard StarCraft Remastered is not that great.
I wonder if StarCraft Remastered still has that enemy portrait that looks like a penis. Look, there's a creature, I think it's a Zerg creature, where it's got this thing and then like a tongue comes out of it. It looks like a phallus, man. I remember even when I first played the game,
I think it's like,
it looks like a dick. It looks like
I know the one you're talking about. There's also one that looks like a vag.
Yeah.
Straight up.
I mean, we know that they do these things in game. There's a persona in Persona that is like a giant penis on like a chariot or something.
It's true.
There's a.
I don't think they meant to do that in StarCraft though, because it was just a blurry image. It wasn't like.
I don't know, man.
I don't think it was intentional.
I don't know, but I
don't know. After all the bro atmosphere that was back there, you never know.
Yeah, there was an enemy that was planned for the original Half-Life that was going to rape you, and then they said, you know what? Maybe
that seems distasteful.
Maybe that's going a little bit too far, but it's that's not a rumor. That's in their making of Half-Life book.
That's creepy.
They had a thought line behind it. The line of thought was, well, gamers are mostly young men, and this is the 90s, so homosexuality is going to be something they're really uncomfortable with. So why don't we use that for the horror element of that game? Have them confronted by that, and they were like, "Oh, that's cool, but wait, maybe a little
bad idea.
Maybe a little too far. Maybe we shouldn't rape our player to death."
Even in 1990, that sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah, but there is still the gonarch, which is like a giant testicle that spawns head crabs. That's still in the game.
Gosh, I have no comment.
It's called the gonarch.
I know.
Man.
Don't need to elaborate.
It's a portmanteau of gonad and monarch. It doesn't get more. It doesn't get more penile than that.
I have no words. I just have no words.
I'm just saying, man.
I know. Just thinking though. StarCraft 2, however, they're giving away all of the campaigns, so you get the full series of expansions and everything with it, which is pretty cool.
Is it racist if I point out that my Korean brother-in-law plays a lot of StarCraft 2?
No, I used to play a shitload of StarCraft 2.
The thing is that
it's huge in Korea.
It's huge in Korea. I mean, and he and I have joked about this. He's like, "Yeah, I know it's a stereotype, but it is. But like, we really like it there."
I don't blame them. It's like a freaking amazing game.
StarCraft is fun. I used to play it in class.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Very cool at it. A part of me wants it to come out on consoles, but no, it's not.
God, do you remember StarCraft on the N64?
StarCraft 64. God.
That's why we don't want it on consoles.
Ran at like 10 frames per second. They showed off another trailer for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Just stop with the Indiana Jones stuff already. No one, we've seen enough. We know what it is.
Yeah.
A game called Tanuki Pond Summer is coming to Xbox.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I checked out the trailer for it. Nah. It's definitely a specific audience that will play that game for sure. It's a cutesy game.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Threads of Time, another 2D HD RPG coming out by Humble Games and Ryu Games Beyond.
So it's not connected to Threads of Fate from Square.
No, that is not a Square game. It's its own thing. I didn't actually see this, but I guess it's like anime inspired, and I don't know. I'm kind of getting over the 2D HD aesthetic. It's cool, but it should have been kept to like the one series that started it, which was I think Octopath Traveler.
Yeah.
I didn't like when I started seeing it in other places. I was like,
yeah, exactly, because it was it was a very unique spin on
Yeah.
things, and then now it just seems to have become kind of the default art style. So now it has become genericized when originally it stood out.
I think Dragon Quest remake 1, 2, and 3 are using it.
Yeah, one of the Dragon Quest. God, they remake those games as like almost more often than they remake Final Fantasy games. At this time, at this point, they might have done it more. They're constantly remaking those games.
Yep.
They did Live Alive in HD 2D, and it kind of worked there as well. But like,
It's getting old. That's all.
Yeah.
It looks cool, but it's like. Yeah, it's kind of like what happened with Fortnite, where every game looks like Fortnite.
Yeah.
It's like
I could see it being like for remakes of games from like the Super Nintendo era, if they don't want to do them full 3D like they did the Trials of Mana remake. Like if they wanted to remake the Romancing Saga games again, and
it
they
would be
did
cool to see Chrono Trigger in 2D
yeah,
HD.
something like that. It'd be like, yeah, okay, you're echoing the style of that game,
Or heck,
but,
even
like
Final Fantasy 6 in that style. Ooh,
yeah,
that'd be cool.
yeah. But making something completely brand new in it is like
Yeah, that I don't understand.
that should have been limited to Octopath Traveler, because that was a game built around that style as a specific thing.
Yep,
And,
I agree.
and genericizing it just kind of makes it feel bland.
100% agree. They announced that Fragpunk, the online shooter where you have cards that change drastically the level and your character and other things.
Is that the cel-shaded one?
Yeah, it's kind of cel-shaded. It's got like a
Yeah.
punk rock kind of attitude to it. It's getting a closed beta in October on Xbox, so check that out. We talked already about Metaphor, some anime I don't know, some anime I don't know, another anime I don't know.
Maybe I should have done this part of the. I should have done this part of the show.
There's so many anime games that I'm like,
Well,
they
yeah,
all
there's a lot of
blend together.
There's a lot of anime out there, man.
There is. Problem is, not all of it is good.
No, dude.
All of it is
So
good.
back in the '90s, if you were an anime fan, you basically treasured everything you got because it was like a drip feed. And now that we're in the era where everything is available all the time,
Crunchyroll.
It's like, oh, first of all, not everything is good, and a lot of what we treasured back then was actually crap.
Yep.
You know, it's like, oh man, I've got a tape of Devil Hunter Yoko. It's so great. No, it's actually a terrible show.
It's actually trash.
You were just starved for anime.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know what this one is. Sin Duality Echo of Ada launches January 2025.
That sounds like a made-up game for a joke in a movie or something.
Yeah. I don't know anything about that one.
Sin Duality.
Sin Duality. Looks like a customizable robot. It's an extraction shooter. Moving on. Furry friends are coming to Fallout 76, so I guess they're adding pets to Fallout 76.
Oh, so it's not like, okay.
Yeah, it's not
I was thinking a different thing.
No, it's not. It's not furries. They showed off more of the Suikoden 1 and 2 remaster, which was pretty cool. They showed like comparisons between the old game and the new game. Looks really good.
Yeah, I bet it does.
Never play the originals, so I'm looking forward to these to see if I can Suikoden my way into them.
Yeah, like I said, I played Suikoden 2 on the PlayStation like around the time it came out, maybe a little bit after. I thought it was fun.
Yeah. They're highly regarded, so.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that one. Oh, Slitterhead, which I think is just maybe the worst name for a game ever. It just sounds dirty to say.
Yeah.
Slitterhead.
Yeah.
Okay.
I cannot think of a generous interpretation of that name.
Man, I'm assuming that's what they wanted, but it's
Yeah.
pretty awful. But they did a deep dive trailer for it. It still doesn't look great, in my opinion. It looks fine. It looks kind of like, I don't know, it almost looks like an anime Silent Hill, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where you're like possessing different humans and battling against monsters, and it looks fine. I don't think it's going to do anything for me, but we'll see. What was this? Starbites. I watched the trailer. I don't remember anything about it, though.
That's not exactly confidence inspiring.
Let me just zoom through the trailer here. Oh yeah, this was the bad trailer. That's right. This trailer is really bad. Here's one of the quotes from the trailer that pops up on screen. A topsy-turvy adventure RPG with Lupita and friends. What the hell's a topsy-turvy RPG?
Yeah.
Vrooming, exciting, turn-based strategical battles. The fuck is vrooming exciting?
Yeah. I don't know.
Like, it's just one of those trailers where you're like, what are you talking about? Speak English.
Well, they're not going to speak English. It's Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah, I guess. The trailers are in English. I don't know. It looks weird. I'm not convinced.
Yeah.
But you never know. But you know, every so often one of these kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, this is like a 9 out of 10 game, and you're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
You never know. But I don't. I'm not looking at Starbites thinking that though.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake got a deep dive trailer as well. I'm not really paying attention. It's there for people who want it.
Mm-hmm.
The Final Fantasy Pixel remasters are now available on Xbox. I thought that they were going to be available on Game Pass, so I was really excited because we had just talked about me playing 3.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's just available to purchase on Xbox. So, I have not done that yet. I have installed Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age, though, on my PlayStation, though. So, once I'm done with Outlaws and whatever else I'm playing, that's gonna be my winter game where we have like the lull.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm gonna play.
You know what else was shown off at TGS? Eartheon, which
What is that?
the new arcade shoot 'em up for the Sega Genesis by Ancient, which is the software company headed up by Yuzo Koshiro, composer of ActRaiser, Streets of Rage,
that's right.
Castlevania games, lots and lots of stuff. I was trying to remember the name last time I talked about it and I couldn't, but I was just seeing it going through Twitter. Yeah, they showed off Eartheon. I actually thought about reaching out to him and asking, because he's on Twitter and he speaks English. So I thought about reaching out to him and asking, hey, can I ask you some questions about this? But he actually put out a tweet a little while ago saying, please hold back inquiries until the game is released. So I'm holding back my inquiries until the game is released.
All right, then. It's fair. All right, that's all the news I have. Did you have anything that I missed?
No, well, the Eartheon thing was it.
Okay.
I was waiting until you were done, because you were going through that list we've got up. And I was waiting for you done just before I threw up the Eartheon plug. Because I really like Ancient's games. They've got the God of Protectors games, which I really, really like.
Yep. Cool. Well, I think it's time to move into our topic of the week, which is the PlayStation State of Play. Now, you have that same article open that I do, I believe, on IGN.
I can pull it up, but
Okay.
I also have the PlayStation official blog.
Okay.
Which also
I'm
is showing
just
the
to
list.
let you know, I'm starting from the bottom.
You're starting from the bottom. Okay.
Yeah, it's in the opposite order from.
Oh, because they were updating it sequentially and
although it looks like it's kind of out of order in general, but they put all the good stuff at the top, so I'm just kind of saving that stuff for last.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's start with. Actually, did I do? Hold on a second.
Well, the one at the bottom is for the IGN article is Dynasty Warriors. We don't have a lot to say about that because we both talked about how.
Oh no, there's stuff below that too.
Oh, is there? What?
Yep.
What?
Maybe it's just not loading for you. The IGN website's really been finicky for me lately, but yeah, there's some other stuff. But yeah, let's start. So they announced PlayStation Plus monthly games for October, which are good for me. We're going to get WWE 2K24, which I have not purchased because I typically purchase the WWE games every other year to give them the chance to breathe.
Yeah.
But I get this one for free, so that's pretty sweet.
Yep.
The Dead Space remake is going to be free as well.
Oh, it's the remake. Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. I already have it, but for those that don't, check that out. It's a fantastic remake.
Yeah.
And Doki Doki Literature Club is going to be out there as well. Now, I have not played it, so if you've played it, don't spoil it for me.
I haven't played it either, but I've heard it's pretty good.
I don't. Apparently, there's a twist of some kind in it. So
yes, there is a twist.
I'm trying to avoid
Yeah.
knowing what that twist is.
Yes.
So I'm going in completely blind to that game and just going to play it.
There is a hell of a twist.
Cool. Looking
I'm just
forward
not
to
into the visual novel games in general. I'm
occasionally.
I forget if we've talked about this. I don't think we have, but
I think we may have off camera.
Or maybe we did it. Yeah, it's so hard because we have conversations about stuff
You're
before
gonna
and
talk
after the
about
show.
Danganronpa and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only visual novels that I think I've ever really gotten into are all games that involve solving a mystery.
Like the Phoenix Wright games, you could consider narrative,
or the Famicom Detective Club games.
Are you going to play the new one, Smiling Man?
Yeah, I might give that a go once I've done.
I think
with
there's a demo out.
the other stuff. But I played the again through emulation because it wasn't released in North America. I played the compiled version of it that got re-released for the Super Famicom in the 90s. Because there were two of them on the NES, and then they got released as a single package for the Super Nintendo with some graphical upgrades and stuff. Yeah. And I played that, and I was like, that's pretty cool. The big one would be Snatcher on the Sega CD. Hideo Kojima, basically his take on Blade Runner.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah, which I really like that one. Would you consider Deja Vu to be a visual novel? Or because that's like halfway between a visual novel and a point-and-click adventure game.
I was gonna say it's almost like a Myst, like, right?
Yeah, and by that logic, is Myst a visual novel? You don't really have conversations with characters.
No,
I feel
that's a good point.
That feels like a key part of a visual novel is the interaction between characters.
And there's really not a lot of gameplay.
Well, there's never a lot of gameplay in point-and-click adventure games either. Like King's Quest.
But like Myst is like, there's a lot of stuff you need to do in that game.
There's a lot of puzzle solving and environmental interaction.
Yeah, there's no real puzzle solving, and I mean there is, but like it's very light in narrative games.
Well, I mean, Snatcher has puzzle solving, and that's 100% a visual novel.
Yeah.
And Phoenix Wright is a sort of a logic puzzle game because you're trying to deduce the solution to a problem.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not always about like moving blocks into places and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I've played 999 and Danganronpa.
Did you play Trace Memory on the DS? That was another one that I liked. Although it's not entirely a visual novel, but it's similar.
I tried Ghost Trick.
Okay.
I think it was called. Is that what it's called? Ghost Trick?
Ghost Trick
Detective or something like that?
Ghost Trick is I forget who made that, but
yeah, I think it was Capcom.
That might have been. But yeah, like the visual novel games, like unless there is like a mystery to be solved, and thus talking to people and a lot of text is kind of the way you would do that, or if there's some other gameplay mechanic tacked onto it. Like there are some visual novels out there that have like a tactical combat thing. I mean, even Fire Emblem is almost like a light visual novel in the way that you can get characters to hook up.
Yeah, but that you could say that about Persona as well.
Yeah, but the thing
they're
is,
they're RPGs straight up.
In one of the Fire Emblem games, the characters that pair up actually determine the next generation of characters that you'll play as in the second half of the game. So those relationships are actually really important.
But like in the narrative games that we're talking about, choices you make really don't have any bearing on the story. They're predetermined. They just make you think that you're making choices.
But then there's also stuff like Until Dawn, which is a very story focused.
Yeah, I don't even know what genre you would put that in. It's like adventure, but it's not.
It's not point and click.
It's a Telltale game. I think that's usually what I call them.
And those are sort of the modern equivalent of the point and click adventure game. That's the
Western.
The Western visual novel, which is
the Western narrative novel. Yeah. Because like if you took Danganronpa and you made it a Western game. It's the Quantic Dream
game, but done right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It doesn't shit the bed halfway through.
No.
Man, fucking Indigo Prophecy. I remember when I first played that game, I was so hyped. I even thought of it as like, oh, this is like the modern day Snatcher. This is so cool. And then you get to I think it's probably about the point where they reveal that there's also like an evil empire of like computer AIs or something, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah, it just goes off the deep end.
Oh no.
In the Matrix moment where you start floating, flying and shit. Yeah, that game falls apart hard.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
it started so good.
I
Dude,
know.
that opening where you're in the men's room trying to cover up the murder that you just committed
I
that you
know.
don't
There's
remember
such good
doing.
parts of that
It's
game.
so good.
Yep.
That's the best intro to any game I've ever played.
And then they just poop
and
it
then
down the drain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it?
I should have realized things were going awry when I had to dodge every single piece of furniture in the dude's apartment.
Yeah, that was really bad. Yeah, that was kind of bad. I remember that. That game is memorable, but not in a good way. Not in a good way. Let's see what's
God.
next. More games confirmed for PlayStation 5 Pro support. The
Sure.
list included Dragon Age Veilguard, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Metal Gear Solid, Delta, and more. And there were
Obviously.
some previews, hands-on previews of the PS5 Pro. And for the most part, people are coming across pretty positively regarding it. But it's very much PS4 Pro. You know, it's very dependent on the game.
I'm sure it runs better.
Yeah.
It's the
well, it's
question
not
is-
just that, but like it depends on the game. So like some games you basically just get what I expected, which is fidelity mode plus 60 frames per second. But then some of them are like taking advantage of the Pro in additional ways and you know enhancing the ray tracing even further than it was in fidelity mode.
Mm-hmm.
Doing fidelity mode plus better ray tracing at 120 frames per second.
Yeah.
Like it just depends on the game.
Mm-hmm.
So
But you
I'm
have
definitely more enticed to buy one, but I'm not going to.
you pay a massive premium for it.
Yeah, it's too much money. It's just too much. If
Did
I
you
was in the
see-
States, I might think about it.
Yeah.
But in Canada, it's just.
Have
it's
you
not
seen that they've already sold out of the anniversary PS5 Pros?
Yep.
they
Sold out
only-
in like 30 seconds, something like
Yeah,
that.
they only made like I think 12,300 or some number like that available. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck were you guys thinking?
Did you see the prices that they're going for by the scalper?
Yeah.
$4,000, and people are buying them. Are
Oh
you
my
freaking
God.
morons?
Oh god.
You're paying $4,000.
They should have taken pre-orders
Psychos.
and then like made as many units as they got pre-orders for, plus a few more to sell to people who didn't know about pre-orders or something.
Yeah, these companies got to figure out a way to kill scalpers. I don't know how you can do it, but like they need to find a way.
Also, didn't you say they should have just made these like swappable plates? Didn't you say that?
Yeah,
on
that was
Twitter?
the other thing. Yeah, I didn't
why
mention
didn't-
that last week.
Why
Yeah.
that's the whole point of the swappable
Yeah, you have swappable plates.
plates.
Why just make the plates?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Fucking
Yeah,
hell, Sony.
They could have done that, and then they could have made the limited edition where
Yeah.
there's only 12,000. But at least the people that want the cool plates and controllers can still buy those separately.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really weird.
Well, you know who will take care of that? D-Brand.
Oh, is that the plate branding people?
Yeah, that's the people that Sony sued for the plates being too similar.
Didn't they buy them or like pay them now to make them or something?
I
like
don't
that?
think so.
No, they just shut them down.
You know what? I wonder if D-Brand would sponsor us. They sponsor stuff.
I don't think we're big enough to have sponsors yet.
Ah.
Because sponsors are there to get views.
Yeah, I
and
know.
We don't have enough views yet, so yeah. I think once we have, there's thresholds on YouTube where you
Yeah.
can start making money. Once you hit those, I think then people would care.
Yeah.
We got to get there first. Moving on. Enough business talk.
Yeah.
Dynasty
We'll
Warriors
save that
Origins.
for after the show.
Yeah, Dynasty Warriors Origins gets release date kind of January. Oh, it does. January 17th, 2025.
Yeah, there goes the cat.
Yeah, come here. What are you doing? It's very cranky today. I
Now
don't know what's
my
going on
phone's
with him.
going off.
Oh, someone's phoning you? Is it the cat police? Come here.
No, hold on. I gotta respond to this.
You're very noisy. Say hi to the people. It's the look on his face. Oh, there you go.
I love how fucking human cats can look
I know.
with their expressions. You can always tell what they're thinking.
Yeah, my,
Yeah. But yeah, Dynasty Warriors, whatever.
January 17th, 2025.
We've talked about Dynasty Warriors on the games we've never played thing. We both played Hyrule Warriors.
Exactly.
And we both kind of came to the conclusion that the Dynasty Warriors spin-offs that are branded with other things end up
Are
being
better.
the better ones.
Yeah. They announced new PlayStation 5 controller colors and plate colors, ironically,
Yeah.
even though none of them are the 30th anniversary edition.
Yeah.
They do look cool though. They're like they call it the Chroma collection. So we got like a blue reflective, a silver reflective, and a teal reflective.
I mean, they look kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I do like that they're plates instead of having to buy a whole new console.
Yeah. I think that was a really smart decision on their part.
Yeah, it was about the only smart decision they made on the design of that thing.
The rest of it's ugly. I agree.
Fucking popped collar ass shit.
Yep. Speaking of popped collars,
well,
I look like a PlayStation 5. All right. They
you need a white shirt and you could be an inverted PS5 instead of the Atari shirt.
Absolutely. They announced an Alan Wake 2 expansion, The Lake House.
You'd also need a tumor growing out of one of your hips. For the disc drive. So yes, Alan Wake, The Lake House. I had some stuff I wanted to say about this.
Yeah, and it arrives next month.
Yeah.
It's pretty fast.
This is just me with the fucking tinfoil hat Alex Jones rant going on. By the way, do you see him cry bitch tears about having to the InfoWars guy who spread the Sandy Hook conspiracy theory stuff? No? Oh, there's a video of him crying big old tears about how they're liquidating InfoWars to pay the fucking pay the lawsuit that the Sandy Hook families brought against them. Fucking good.
What a
Piece
weirdo.
of shit. We didn't talk politics on this show, but that guy's a monster. Anyway, this is my tinfoil hat thing. So, The Lake House is a movie starring Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock without an exploding bus. And it's about...
Speed reference.
Yeah. Well, the first time I saw it on TV, and I didn't see what the title was. But I saw in the opening credits, it said Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, and I was like, oh my god, is this Speed? No. Nope. No, it's not Speed. But it's a movie about it's a remake of a Korean movie about a house where they have a connection across. They both live in the same house, but like 2 years apart. And there's like a portal through time where he gets like the previous owner leaves a message for him in the mailbox, but it's her from the future or something like that.
Weird.
It's hard to explain, but
this is a remake of a Korean movie?
Yeah, this is a remake of a Korean
Western
movie.
remake. I might have to watch this. I like time travel movies.
Yeah.
Is it a good movie?
It's all right. Okay. I didn't stick around to watch the whole thing because I was kind of disappointed that it wasn't Speed.
How old is this movie?
I don't know, like 2000s-ish, like late 2000s, I think.
Looking it up. Well, I can't find it on the... Oh, The Lake House 2006.
Yeah.
There it is. Oh, yeah, well, Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock right there.
Yep. So I'm wondering if this is a reference to that and there's going to be some kind of time shenanigans. We already know that there was a house on the lake in the first Alan Wake game. It's kind of where all the shit started. So maybe this is named in reference to that for some kind of time travel shenanigans. Maybe. Could be.
Yeah.
It seems like the kind of thing they do. Also, let's not forget, one of the head honchos at Remedy is named Sam Lake.
Mm-hmm.
And he appears in Alan Wake 2 portraying a character. So maybe this is some kind of meta-narrative shit, because Alan Wake is a story about a writer writing a story about a writer who writes himself into the story to fix the problems. Maybe we're going to get the game designer writes himself into the game to help the writer who wrote himself into, maybe.
Anything can happen in that game, because
anything can happen in that game. I just saw that name.
Have you played Alan Wake 2?
Not yet.
Not yet. I really want to play it.
On the list. Yeah, I liked Alan Wake 1 a lot, aside from the ending being sold as DLC. But other than that, I liked Alan Wake 1 a lot, in spite of the fact that it was cut back so much from its original design. But honestly, that probably helped it. I don't think an open world horror game is maybe necessarily what the genre needs. But anyway. I saw that name and immediately those two thoughts came to mind, because that's absolutely the kind of shit they would put in there. Will they? I don't know, but it's the kind of thing that I suspected. They're
a very unique company. They make very unique games.
Yeah, I like Remedy. I still need to play Control.
Control's okay.
Yeah, I kind of want to use it to put my cards' ray tracing abilities through their paces, which is why I've been waiting for it to come down in price. Because I'm like, I hate to admit this, but like I'm kind of interested in that game for its visuals and just how fucking
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's one of the best looking games in the world.
Yeah, I played a 1-hour demo of it, and
Even
it's
without the ray tracing enabled, some of that shit looks real.
Yeah,
like the reflections
really
in like the steel chair legs, the stainless steel chair legs. It looks so good.
It does.
I really just want to kind of spend some time in that game.
Is there not a demo on PC?
There might be. I haven't looked. I just been waiting for it to come for like half price or something.
It's on sale on PlayStation right now.
Yeah. Well, I just have to buy a PlayStation then.
Yeah. All right. Next up.
But yes. Next up.
Bloomhouse Games showed off a new trailer for Fear the Spotlight, which is like a PlayStation 1 inspired looking horror game.
Yep.
Apparently it's very good. I've heard from a lot of people that have played it behind the scenes that it's very good. But
yeah, this it looks the thumbnail for the video looks like The Ring.
Yeah,
because you got the hair hanging down.
Yeah, apparently you play like a girl who has to like. You literally have to avoid like the spotlight. Okay, what do you want?
You have to play a Japanese horror game as a girl.
Yeah, shocker, right? Holy mackerel! He's got. I don't know what his problem is today. It's like I said, there's a bug up his butt.
Got the crazies.
Yeah, he's got the cat crazies today. It's very strange. I think it might be the weather. We've had really weird weather here.
Yeah,
and that hurricane is approaching.
It's been super humid. Holy shit!
Yeah. It's cooled off really, really bad today.
I've had to have both my dehumidifying mode on my air conditioner and my standalone dehumidifier going.
Yeah, it's
because that's how
weird.
humid it was.
It's very damp.
Yeah.
Next up was Towers of Agazba. Now, I've actually seen this game before. I think they showed it off at a previous State of Play. Maybe the PlayStation Showcase last year. And it looked really cool. It's basically a cross between like Harvest Moon and Zelda by the looks of it.
Yeah, it looks very Breath of the Wild-esque, but you're also like building a town.
Yeah, it looks very cool. The only thing that kind of disappointed me about this announcement was that it is early access.
Yeah.
Which is a first for PlayStation. They don't really do early access stuff. So.
They've done early access stuff before. Or wait, is this a first-party game or?
It's only on the PS5. Yeah, it's not first party, but it's it must be like a second party game.
Okay, then maybe because there have been early access games on the PlayStation before. I apologize for the creaking of my chair. I try not to move it around too much, but at some point my ass starts to lose feeling in it. I gotta move.
It's okay. I got the cat in the background, so
yeah.
You know.
Well, when I listen back to the shows to check the audio, I hear my chair creaking like it's fucking thunder.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never hear it. I don't know. It must be something to do with the AI that
maybe
enhances it by accident.
Yeah. But yeah, this looks like it could be cool. It was kind of the thing that caught my eye out of what was in here.
Out of the majority of it.
Besides the thing that we'll talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
So
the early access starts in November. So
yeah,
we'll see.
It's even got the fucking handheld hang glider thing from Breath of the Wild, which
I'm hoping it turns out good.
Yeah.
They showed off a little bit more of Lego Horizon Adventures, which you've already talked about
which I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't care. Sometimes those Lego games are pretty good, but if you're doing a Lego version of a game that is already a video game, it's like you're dumbing down a better game.
Yeah.
Like doing Lego Star Wars. It's like, well, what is that? Well, it's just a Star Wars game with Lego characters. Okay, cool. And it's, simple enough that kids can play it. Great. But like you already have Horizon Zero Dawn as a video game.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Which we'll talk about later.
Why would you dumb that? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know why they're doing it. For some reason,
you can't see it because I don't have a webcam, but I'm doing the money finger rub.
Yeah. Well, Sony for some reason sees Horizon as like an expandable IP that they're going to make into movies and TV shows, and
we'll see how that
games,
goes.
So.
That's what they said about Concord.
Well, something that wasn't in the news, I don't think we ever talked about it, but the Horizon TV show got canceled.
There was a Horizon TV show?
Yeah, it was It was in
Uh-oh.
development on Netflix, and I guess it was either the director or the producer of the show was like extremely toxic backstage.
Yeah.
And so basically Sony pulled out and was like, we're gonna just cancel this. But it sounds like they're probably shopping around to take it somewhere else. So
Is that like a live action thing or?
I don't think they ever said. I think
They
it's a
should,
live action thing.
you know
but I
what?
don't
If they
remember.
did that as like an animated thing, maybe to like connect the stories between games, that might be fine.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They never got far enough
Yeah.
to mention it. I don't think. There's some Sonic Cross Shadow Generations crap no one
Yeah.
cares about. They showed off Fantasia of Neo Dimension, another anime game.
Yeah. Well, this is from Hironobu Sakaguchi.
Yeah, which is great, but there's like a billion JRPGs right now, and none of them stand out to me. Metaphor is the only one that stands out to me currently.
Ah,
It could be good, but
it could be good.
you know, the one thing that he pointed out a lot in this trailer was the handmade diorama backgrounds.
Yeah,
Did
they
you see
did
that?
that. They did that for Saga Frontier too.
Yeah,
They had
Never in HD.
they had some guy, I forget his name, but they hired an artist to do like all watercolor paintings instead of doing pre-rendered CG for the background in that game, and it looks fantastic. And that's probably why there's no HD remaster of that game like there was for Saga Frontier 1, because upscaling that is going to be a pain. But yeah, I think these look cool.
Yeah, it looks good. I just the game I don't really. It's not pulling me in at all.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's too many anime games, so none of them stand out anymore. It's just moving on. Another
Hitman.
PSVR 2 game.
Yep.
Shocker. Hitman 3 VR Reloaded. Again, this is not what PSVR needs.
I kind of lost track of the Hitman games after the second one.
So they have merged Hitman 1, 2, and 3 into one game now. Called,
Is that what
World of Hitman.
World of Assassination or whatever it's called is?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay,
so
that's
you
what
buy that
is.
and you get all three games.
Oh, now it makes sense. All
Yeah.
right.
And I do
All right.
highly recommend them. They're fantastic. They're absolutely amazing.
Yeah, they're good.
Finally, this one, I talked about this on the live stream, and I mentioned you on the live stream when this
Yeah.
one came out. Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered coming in December.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened there, but that got leaked through the PlayStation Store, like
After it was already leaked from the
from the Comic-Con
yeah,
display. Yeah, somebody like pushed the update to the PlayStation Store like a day early.
morons, man.
Like, did they
They
not
do
get-
that all the time. They don't know what they're doing over there. There's no
Like somebody-
the hands are not talking to each other.
Somebody did not get the
Embarrassing.
memo that we're pushing this soon, but not until after the state of play.
Yeah, it's
Come
just
on, guys.
It's really embarrassing.
It is the worst kept secret.
Yeah, it does look good though.
I have a lot to say about this. So this is, and I can tell just from looking at it, and I think most people can tell just from looking at it because they show you it transitioning into the new version.
Yeah.
This is the old game with new graphics. This is not a. This is not.
Oh yeah, it's a
from-
remaster. It's not a remake.
Yeah.
for sure.
And I have mixed feelings about that. I really like Soul Reaver. I think it's a fantastic game. I think there are absolutely places where you could make improvements to it. And I'm sure that there will be quality of life improvements to the controls.
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
now dual analog is a thing. We just, the way that we design controls for third-person games has changed. And so
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be a more modernized control option, just like there was for the Tomb Raider remastered
Yes.
trilogy. And
Yeah, you
could
can
also
use the classic controls or
yeah,
the
you
modern
can,
ones.
You can use the classic controls as well, so I'm sure that'll be here as well. I am a little bit mixed on the way it looks. It looks good. Like, the actual fidelity of the assets is very good.
Mm-hmm.
It looks a little too bulbous to me. Like, it's got some of that World of Warcraft, like, exaggerated proportions of limbs and stuff.
Maybe
And-
that's just from HDifying it.
Well, it's hard to say because the
Yeah.
original game does have that, but I never got the impression that that was a deliberate design choice. It always came across as we are working with the limited polygon budget of the PS1, and we need to make sure that our characters have distinguishing silhouettes so that you can identify your character quickly in combat, so that you can identify threats from a distance, even at 320 by 240. And as a result of that, exaggerating some of the character proportions, like the size of the they've almost got like Popeye forearms in this, you know. Even though Raziel is supposed to be this very gaunt skeletal remains of a vampire, he's got these massive fucking forearms, and that always felt like a limitation of the PS1 and a compromise that they had to make in their art. It doesn't feel like something that they actually canonically wanted the character to look like. And if you look at the art for those old games, that's not really what the character looks like. He is pretty skeletal in most of the designs. And it makes me wonder, like, did these people speak to anyone from Crystal Dynamics who worked on Soul Reaver and said, that's how we wanted it to look? Or is that just a decision they made so that it would match the scale of the characters in the original game? Which could have a gameplay reason behind it. Like, you might want to keep those characters looking as similar as possible just to account for the hitbox size and shape of the characters during their animations.
Yeah,
because otherwise it could change the way that gameplay works. Like in those Crash remakes, they changed the hitbox on Crash, and that actually made platforming harder. Because his old hitbox was a cube, and his new hitbox is a cylinder. So you used to be able to catch platforms with the corner of your hitbox. You can't do that in those Crash remakes because there's no corners on the hitbox.
Interesting.
So it actually does change the gameplay a little bit. So maybe they're trying to keep everything matching the sort of shape of the old models as much as they can. Maybe it's just an artistic choice they made. I don't know. Like I said, it doesn't look bad. It looks generally a lot better. Obviously, higher polygon counts, higher resolution textures, better lighting. Mm-hmm. There are some design choices in there that I could kind of nitpick as like, oh, do I think this looks better or whereas, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I mean, you know.
I think they are probably, based on some other news, which is not in this article, so I'll include it in here. They're also releasing the PlayStation 1 classic Blood Omen. Legacy of Kain on PlayStation.
That's a game that could have used a remaster, if I'm being honest.
So I'm wondering if they're just testing the waters for the series to see how much interest there is.
Yeah.
And if it sells decently enough, they might do something with it.
Maybe they'll revive Legacy of Kain, Dead Sun.
Yeah.
That game that they actually, from what I saw, had a pretty impressive vertical slice of. Did I ever show you that Dead Sun video? It's a bit long. It's like 45 minutes long, so you wouldn't check it out during while we're recording. Yeah. But there you can find the vertical slice of that game on YouTube, and it was like, this actually looks pretty cool. Why didn't this get made? Yeah. But it could be. I mean, that series has sat dormant for so long. Square Enix didn't do anything with it. It was just part of what they got when they bought Eidos. I'm a huge fan of the series. I'm always happy to see it do something. Soul Reaver is my favorite game in the franchise. Well, I mean, Defiance is a better game, but I spent a lot of time playing Soul Reaver. Yeah. And I'm glad that it'll be back. It's still pretty easy to play Soul Reaver 1 on modern PCs. Soul Reaver 2 is a little bit of a bitch. You need to get like fan-made patches to get that working properly on modern Windows. It's got problems. It's got a lot of problems. You
can't play it on PlayStation at all.
It's not just graphical problems either. We're talking about like game logic that doesn't work. Yeah. Like there are some enemies that you just can't hit.
Well, I think this is currently only coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series. Doesn't seem to have a PC release yet. So,
really? I thought I saw a PC thing in there.
It's not mentioning it in the article.
I don't see it. I only see PS5,
PS4, and Xbox Series.
But they do say, okay, that's interesting. But I'm sure it'll come to PC.
Yeah, it'll probably be a PC release at some point. Yeah. Probably just not yet.
I mean, like even in the title card at the end, you can see that Raziel's forearm isn't nearly as beefy as it is in game. So
No.
you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, one of the other things that I noticed, and this is also part of the this is a remaster, not a remake, is they seem to be using all of the original animations, which again is probably a gameplay thing, so that they don't have to.
Well, like
You know,
it's not a remake; it's a remaster,
Yeah.
so it makes total sense.
but you know, it's one of those cases of like those were pretty good animations in 1999. It's 25 years have passed. Motion capture has gotten a lot better.
Well, I mean,
And
I mean, they can't do anything significant with this series yet. Like,
Yeah.
they're not going to invest enough to do new motion capture and like,
Yeah.
like it's not a remake. It's literally
No,
just an
I know.
HDified remaster.
It's
so.
just now that you have these much more modern high resolution models and textures against the 25-year-old motion capture animations, it kind of looks out of place. You know,
well-
it's like when you watch the HD remaster of the original Star Trek and they've got all those CGI effects in there.
Yeah, it's a place to start though.
It's a place to start, and it's
You know?
look. I will play it.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Hopefully, people
I'm-
buy it and
Like
we
the
get
content
more,
of
like,
those
CD
games isn't changing. Those are still good
No, no, no.
games, so they're
Yeah.
still absolutely worth playing.
Exactly.
But it just like it looks a little bit.
It looks old.
It looks a little bit old in motion. When you just look at the screenshots, it looks fine. But as soon as you see things start moving, you go, okay, yeah, I can see that this was originally a PS1 game.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just got those sort of rough edges on it, which is fine. I played the game back then. I'm used to that kind of stuff. I will probably get used to seeing the new graphics with the old animations. I wonder if they have a switch to go back to the old graphics. The trailer
Possibly.
seemed to have that, but I don't know if that was just a thing they did for the trailer, or if that's an actual function in the game.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it would be too difficult to do. Well, I mean, implementing it would be difficult, but actually like running it alongside, because you'd have to run the two renderers at once.
Yeah, they typically have done that with 2D games. I don't know if they've done it with 3D ones.
They've absolutely done that with 3D games. Halo Anniversary.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, if
That
they can
had
do it with
that-
Halo, they
And
definitely can do it
Halo
with...
2 Anniversary had it as well. So I'm wondering if they'll have that here as well. And it could, like the problem is with Halo 1 Anniversary, that actually did compromise the final look of the game, because they had to run basically the renderer from an original Xbox game with an Xbox 360 game. And so that's why Halo Anniversary didn't look quite as good as other 360 games. But
I
with
thought it looked great.
it looks better than the original, but like compare it
I
to
thought Halo 2 looked ugly, personally.
like the remake or the
Both.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like the I didn't look like either of the looks. I played it and I was like, man, I don't remember this game
Weird.
looking this bad. Especially the character models. They're pretty weird.
What?
Kind of funky.
The character models look really good in Halo 2. Well, some of them. The human models are kind of
Oh yeah, no, I'm not talking about like enemies and stuff. Enemies all
Yeah.
look really cool,
The-
but like
the-
the human,
like the human soldiers.
yeah,
Sergeant
especially
Johnson.
Sergeant, what's his name?
Johnson.
Yeah,
the
he
black
looks
guy.
awful. He looks
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah, he looks a little rough. I mean, the dude's like 80 years old, so.
He's not 80 years old in the game though.
No, he is. Yeah, it's a story thing. He's been in because he's been in hypersleep for a while for
Oh,
like
God.
long it's like an alien thing, right? I mean, the dude is basically ripped off of the Apone from Aliens. You remember? Another glorious day in the Corps. Every paycheck a fortune, every meal a feast.
It's like Starship Troopers, not
It's
Alien.
basically just a carbon copy of that guy.
Yeah.
But you know how in the Alien movies they'll spend like 5 years in hypersleep.
Cryostasis.
Yeah, and that's what Johnson's been doing. So he's chronologically like 80 years old, but physically he's only like 40.
I was gonna say, like, he's
Yeah.
young. He's a young guy.
But anyway, but like I remember thinking like the Master Chief model in Halo 2 looks really, really good, and the shader work in that game is really good. I liked it. There were some things I didn't like about it,
That's fair.
but for the most part. But anyway, so I don't know if they'll have that new graphics, old graphics toggle in there. If they do, great. If they don't, well, I've got the original.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm pretty sure you can get the original PS1 Soul Reaver on the PlayStation Store. Isn't that a thing? PS1 classics? Do they still do
It
that?
is, but their selection is kind of weird.
Really?
There's a lot of like PSP games on there, and like it's weird, dude. It's really
Well, on
weird.
the PS3, I'm like I'm 100% sure that they had Soul Reaver.
Oh, that store did not come over to the
yeah,
PS4,
that store did not
PS5.
come over. Okay.
No. Nope.
But yeah, so fucking Soul Reaver, I'm all about it.
For sure.
I will play it. Give it to me.
Oh,
now.
another game that is also being released on PS1 Classics is Dino Crisis, something we mentioned a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah, Dino
That's pretty
Crisis.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that gets a lot of attention so that they look at that and go,
Man,
maybe we should revisit that.
Dude.
I know. Think about a Resident Evil style remake.
Yeah, Resident Evil 2
Crisis.
remake for
That'd
Dino Crisis.
That'd be amazing. But they'll never do it. But
come on. Come on.
after the comments that we heard a few weeks ago, were with the guy that was like, "What are you talking about? There is a new Dino Crisis game. It's called Monster Hunter."
Yeah.
Idiot. All right, next up.
No, what'll happen? Here's what'll happen. They'll run out of Resident Evil games to remake, and they'll go, shit. Hey, Dino Crisis. There's 2 of those games that are pretty good, and a third one we don't talk about.
They'll remake the remakes. They'll look back and be like, "Wait a minute, we can start remaking them again." That's what they'll do.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. TMNT Shredder's Revenge is
DLC.
getting DLC, and it's free. Or I think
The soundtrack, the new remixed soundtrack is free. The new characters are paid.
so. The title here says Shredder's Revenge Radical Reptiles DLC is free. Is Radical Reptiles just the remix?
That's weird. I'm pretty sure the music is a free upgrade, but the characters you do have to pay for.
I don't know who would pay for those two particular characters though. Just throwing it out there. Mona Lisa and what was the other one?
I fucking forget.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even remember what what episodes they're from. They're probably from like
idea.
a one-off episode.
Yeah.
Like
No
the
idea.
fucking Punker Frogs or whatever they were called. Napoleon Bonafrog.
Continuing the remaster trend, we also got the Lunar Remastered Collection coming out in spring 2025, which includes Lunar 1 and 2 from
Dude,
PlayStation 1.
I fucking wish I had a webcam set up right now, because I have a magazine that has an ad that says, the most celebrated, most whatever, like most this, most that, most the other thing RPG of 1999 will gain one more title. Most exclusive, because they apparently on January 1st, 2000, they were Working Designs was going to stop manufacturing new copies of Lunar, so it was going to become a collector's item. And yet, here we go again.
Yeah.
I wish that this, because as far as I know it doesn't, I wish that this had every version of Lunar that's come out, because there have been several versions, and they're different.
Yeah,
There's
it's just Lunar 1 and 2 complete. I think
Yeah,
they're
so
called.
it's like the PSP versions. There's the Sega CD version, there's the PS1 version, there's the GBA version, and then there's the
I'm
PSP
so glad
version.
that we live in a world where we don't have that anymore.
And the stories in the games are different. Like, it's not just, they have better graphics. It's like, no, the story progression is actually different.
That's so dumb.
Yeah.
I hated that crap. Yeah, I never played Lunar, but I've been told it's pretty decent.
You know who plays the main character of Lunar? One of the boys from O-Town. Remember O-Town?
Really?
Yeah.
That's really weird. That's random.
Yeah.
Next
O-Town,
up,
for anybody under the age of 25, which is probably most of our
stop
audience.
aging us, man.
O-Town was a boy band that never attained the success of the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. See also 98 Degrees.
Indeed. Oh, 98 degrees. That was a deep cut.
Yeah.
I was thinking NSYNC, and then I was like, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, there was another boy band. How many were there?
Yeah.
S Club.
S Club 7 was a mixed
pretty
gender
late for us.
mixed gender group. There were
it
men
was.
and women in that, so it's not a boy band. But they were part of the fucking
Don't go down that rabbit hole.
the auto tune.
Stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I fucking remember Ed the Sog had like the best joke I'd ever heard about that, where he's like, he was talking about this song that they had called Natural, which is just full of auto-tuned vocals. He's like, why would you make a song with all this
Called
robot
Natural,
voice
but
shit
not
called
naturally
Natural?
sung. Yeah. Really stupid. That was our generation, man.
Yep.
Next up was a really cool trailer for a Souls-like game with a medieval setting called a terrible name, but the actual trailer was really good. It's called Arc Age Chronicles or
Yeah,
Arch Age Chronicles.
isn't that a spin-off of an MMO? I'm pretty sure it is.
Mm, not that I'm aware of. It is a
Let-
multiplayer game, but it's not an MMO. I think you might be thinking of like Black Desert and Crimson Desert.
No, it is. Archage is an MMORPG developed by Korean developer Jake Song, former developer of Lineage, and his development company XL Games. This is from Wikipedia. And it was released in Korea in 2013 and in Europe and North America in 2014.
Well, my expectations for the game just dropped enormously. It looked good, but if it's based off an MMO, not only just an MMO, but a Korean MMO that no one's ever heard of.
It was apparently pretty good.
Then
Apparently,
why didn't it ever come here?
It did come here. It just came here like 10 years ago.
Jesus. Okay, so no one plays it.
I don't know if people play it anymore, but
Is it on Steam? Let's see.
it might have been. I don't know if it still is.
Checking the charts. Arch Age. What a terrible name. Arch Age. No, no one's playing it anymore.
Well, remember, there might be people playing it without the Steam client, just with the dedicated client, so that's always a possibility.
That's true. I said one player has played one concurrent player and is currently playing it.
Oh, jeez.
Last 30 days, 2.5 players.
Wait, 2.5?
Yeah, whatever that means.
Somebody playing it when they were asleep?
I have no clue. Very, very weird. Looks like it's had like a big drop off. There was 105 people averaging playing it in April, and then it dropped off from 105 to 33 to 25 to 5 to 4 to 2.
Yeah, I wonder if
Something
it's one of
happened.
those things that's like really popular in like Korean net cafes or something.
October 2019, it was 517 average players.
Yeah.
2017, 1,000. So yeah, it looks like it's just a game that's just dropped off.
Yeah, maybe that's why they're making a sequel.
So is this? But it's not an MMO though. This is apparently a Souls-like, but with multiplayer.
Okay, well then maybe that's why they're making it a single player game with multiplayer, because maybe it didn't work out as an MMO.
Maybe.
I don't know, man. I never
Very
played
weird.
it, so.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
I've heard that it was good. Apparently, it had some good combat. It says here
The footage looked good.
It says here that it's got naval combat, which is not a common thing for MMOs.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
You know, before Sea of Thieves, at least.
Hmm.
So, we'll see.
Yep. The next one was another PSVR 2 game, Metro Awakening.
Yes.
This one's been revealed before, but it got a release date of November 7th. Mm-hmm. But it's also coming to MetaQuest and Windows, so you can also play it on PS or on PC VR.
I read that the author for that has been sentenced to prison in Russia.
Oh, really?
Which is to say that if he ever goes back to Russia, he will be arrested and imprisoned. Because he's not living in Russia.
I don't know who would purposely visit Russia right now, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, especially if you write a series of books that get turned into really successful video games about how, the
How
state...
bad Russia is.
Well, how the state deceives you and stuff. Can't imagine that being thematically very popular with the Putin government.
Putin. Indeed.
And Pal World is out on PS5, apparently.
Yeah, I could not believe that this was announced. Couldn't believe
what
it.
Timing. What incredible timing.
I'm shocked that they put this out there, because like this game might just disappear in the next month. Like it's very, very strange that that this was announced. I can't believe they didn't pull it, but it is what it is. The next one is one of my top favorite things from the show, which was another game with a terrible title. Hell is Us.
Yeah. Which makes it sound like an expansion for Helldivers 2.
Yeah, or The Last of Us or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's like a horror Souls-like. I almost mistook it at first for Death Stranding 2. You get this like drone thing that follows you.
I'm surprised they didn't show Death Stranding 2, but I guess they showed it off at like the Game Awards or Gabe's whatever Jeff Keighley's latest shit was.
I think Kojima Productions and Sony have learned that you don't need to put out 1,000 trailers for your game before you even show gameplay.
Yeah.
We don't need to see a billion things of that game. Just finish it and show us a gameplay deep dive, and then give it to us.
Yeah, and make sure it actually works on PC this time.
Yeah. But yeah, the Hell is Us looks really cool. It's got like a little drone follows you around. It looks like MGS like style, like the animations and the walking and the graphics. Beautiful game. Not an exclusive. It does come to Xbox Series as well, but it looks fantastic. Never heard of the developer though. It was like Rogue Factor, I think it was. But that's not. Like,
I don't know.
Let's see. Hell is Us. Like, who's making this?
Yeah, Rogue Factor.
Rogue Factor, yeah. But I don't know what
they've got two other games that I'm not familiar with. Something called Mordheim, City of the Damned, and Necromunda Underhive Wars.
Oh, Necromunda I've heard of, but I've never heard of Mordheim though. Those are old games though.
Oh, Necromunda is a Warhammer 40K game. Okay. Well, there's like a million of those.
So this must be like their first, like, fully.
Well, no, there's also Mordheim, which is but Mordheim is from 2014.
No, Mordheim was a tabletop RPG, I think.
Oh, really?
Pretty sure. Let me check. Yeah, it's a video game adaptation of Games Workshop's called Classic Tabletop Mordheim. Yeah.
Oh, and Games Workshop.
It's also a Warhammer. That's why.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say Games Workshop is the people that make Warhammer. Okay.
There you go. So yeah, so this must be their first like self-created IP.
Okay. Well, good on them.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. Hopefully, it turns out well for them. It looks great. The next one was another highlight for me, The Midnight Walk. This is from the creators of Lost in Random. If you haven't played Lost in Random, go play Lost in Random. Absolutely fantastic game. Also has a Tim Burton-esque.
Yeah, there's a bunch of typos in this article. It's written Tim Burron-esque.
Tim Burron-esque.
Instead of Tim Burton-esque.
Yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure this was a blog, and that's why it's done this way. He was like, quickly, get it up as quickly as he can.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lost in Random was absolutely fantastic. It was a third-person narrative action, very weird game where you had a dice that walked and talked, and you had to throw it to use powers and stuff. It was really, really cool.
Oh, okay.
Highly recommend it. It's rough around the edges for sure. Yeah. But it's so unique. It's so good. Absolutely love Lost in Random.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that, but never played it.
Can't recommend it high enough. It's very, very
I'll have
good.
to take a look at it then.
Yep.
Oh, excuse me.
I have yet to be wrong with my recommendations for you, so we'll see. But yeah, Lost in Random, highly recommend it, and it's probably pretty cheap at this point. It's been out for a while, and I think it's on Game Pass. So those of you out there with Game Pass, go play it. Midnight Walk, very similar art style, but a little bit more claymation-y. Like,
I'm surprised we haven't seen that more in games. Because you think now...
Yeah, it looks super cool. Remember Clay Fighter?
We've got... Yeah, I was going to say, they brought back Killer Instinct. They should bring back Clay Fighter. Man, your internet is having
Clay Fighter.
You look
game.
like...
So good.
You look like you have a resolution of like 12p right now. You're so blurry on the video
Oh, that's
feed.
just Riverside. It records high quality locally. It's all good.
Okay. Because you're looking like a real player file.
Yeah, all good.
Oh, man.
Riverside's got us covered. I'm not worried about it.
I hope so.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It'll work out.
Astrobot
same
DLC.
thing happened with Call 2. Yes. Okay. Astrobot DLC. And it's free.
Yeah, they
it's coming out
opened
this
with
fall.
that. They were like,
there's a typo
hey,
in this article too. It says fall 2025. Definitely not 2025.
Yeah.
Fall 2024.
But yeah, that was probably a good thing to lead
I haven't
with
played Astrobot
because,
yet. But...
Well, yeah, but it's been doing really well. Like, people are loving it, and so ride that high.
I can't wait to play it.
You know?
I'm so cannot wait to play that game. I really hope it sells well. The developers really deserve.
Yeah,
a good
I guess there's
hit.
a new Bloodborne inspired bot in there or something. I think.
Yeah, there was in
something
the
like that.
Astro's Playroom as well. It was one of the things they added leading up to Astrobot. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Next up was Monster Hunter Wilds. Got a release date. February 28th, 2025. I don't personally care, but yeah, never could get into that series.
Monster Hunter people will play every Monster Hunter game.
Exactly.
They have a pretty reliable customer base at this point.
Yep. Next up was the worst kept secret in gaming. The Horizon Zero Dawn remaster is real. Coming out for PS5 on October 31st. However, I will be playing it because I could not, like, when we knew it was coming, I was like, really? What are they going to do to it? And then I realized that it's not a remaster in the traditional sense. It is getting the Last of Us Part 1 remake treatment. Even though it's called a remaster, it's more of a remake. They're basically, just like they did with The Last of Us 1, they brought Last of Us 1 up in terms of graphical fidelity and detail to be on par with The Last of Us Part 2. That's what they're doing with Zero Dawn.
I saw one of the people from Guerrilla on Twitter talking about how they brought over the Aloy model from Horizon 2 into this game.
So they're basically just updating the game to be as good looking and play as good as Forbidden West. Even going as far as to include 10 hours of re-recorded dialogue and visual enhancements, ray tracing, all that good stuff.
Are they going to fix that child Aloy model? Because
yeah, it looks ugly, doesn't it?
Well, I can't remember if we talked about this either, but it looks like they took the adult face and shrunk it and put it on a child's head, which is not what children look like. Like this is a thing that I see.
Ugly, I agree.
This is a thing that I see in a lot of video games where you have a child version of a character. It's like you can't take the adult face mesh and then just like squish it down.
Slap it on a small head.
Yeah, that's not what children look like. Facial shapes change. Children have chubbier cheeks. You have to make two meshes, guys. I know it sucks, but I do actually know it sucks because I've done facial modeling as part of my work to learn how to do 3D modeling, and it sucks. I hate doing it, and I certainly don't want to do it twice, but you got to do it twice, guys.
Yeah, I don't think they fixed it. No.
You can't shrink the adult face down.
It was in the trailer, the child version, so I don't think they fixed it. It still looked kind of funky.
I want to be clear. I know they didn't literally just shrink the adult face down, but they definitely like tried to childify the adult facial features. You gotta start with a fresh new mesh.
Yep. Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Find pictures of the Aloy is based on her voice actor, isn't it? Like her face or some real person? No,
I don't think so.
I thought there was a face model that they used. There
is a face model that they used, but I don't think it was Ashley Birch.
Oh, okay. Well, find childhood photos of the face model, whoever it was, and then make a model based on that. Just do that, guys.
It was Ashley Birch. Who was the physical model?
It could also be like a
it's a different model.
Okay.
It's not that voice actress.
Because I know that for Gordon Freeman, they looked at the art that they'd done for the original Half-Life, and then they said, we need to find people whose facial features we can merge into this to try and create a realistic face model for a character that never shows his face in the game.
Yeah.
I think that's for the multiplayer model when you're playing Half-Life 2 Deathmatch or something. But also, like, Alex's voice actor and face model are two different people. Although, the face model is also an actor. And I think she's the voice of Samus in Other M. I don't want to get us back onto Other M, but I think it's the same person. I think she was also like the motion capture for Chell in Portal or something like that. I forget. It's been a while, but anyway.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Aloy character model stuff. Yeah, Ashley Birch is the voice, and the model is Hannah Hoekstra.
Yeah, that lady gets around a lot. She's in a lot of stuff. Good for her.
Ashley Birch?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in Borderlands, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Life is Strange. She's in a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She's fantastic. I remember her when she was on YouTube. Hey Ash, what you playing? That was where she got her start.
Mm-hmm.
These little cute videos. So yeah, I'm gonna play it. It's a $10 upgrade US.
You can get it upgraded.
Yeah, it's not a whole new purchase. So it's just like when they did The Last of Us 2
Oh,
remaster for PlayStation 5. You just pay $10 and you get the upgrade.
Became a lot more compelling.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm definitely gonna grab that.
That just became so. It's like it's almost like graphical DLC.
Yeah. However, they did something real shady that some people pointed out. So it's a $10 upgrade to if you already own Horizon Zero Dawn, but because they're freaking dumbasses, they raised the price of Horizon Zero Dawn $20.
Oh.
So if you haven't purchased the game yet,
oh, that's dirty.
that's super dirty.
That's dirty as fuck, man.
Yeah, why they raised it twice as much as someone who already owns it, I'm not entirely sure. I can see them having raised it to $10.
That's the whole reason why you price the upgrade, is so that people who buy the original game at its discounted price, because, whatever it's selling for now, they still pay a little bit extra for the fuck that. That's shifty as fuck, man. They're not doing they're not doing any extra work on the original game, so they shouldn't charge extra for it. They should charge extra for the extra work. Dude, fuck that.
Yeah.
That's shifty as fuck, man.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Is that coming to PC as well, or is it just PS5?
Yes. Yeah, I believe it's a
Did
PC.
Did they raise the price of Horizon on PC?
Question. I know they did it on the PlayStation Store.
Yeah.
Wait, is Zero Dawn even on? Yeah,
it's on Steam.
It's on Steam.
Yeah.
Let me check. I'll log in right now. Let's see. I'm kind of curious. I think it was like $19.99, and now it's $39 or $39.99.
Yeah.
US. So let's see what it is Canadian. Steam takes forever to load nowadays. I don't know, maybe it's just me.
Well, you do have an old computer.
It has an SSD though. I don't know. Okay, Horizon. Oh, there it is. Okay. Well, I think the pricing must be different on PC because it's $64.99 currently.
I don't think it was that before. I've seen it show up. Is there a website that lets you chart the pricing of Steam games over time or something? I feel like there's probably something like that.
Let's see. How to check the price history of a game on Steam?
Because I don't remember seeing it be that much. I think I saw it for like $50 or something.
Complete edition. Price change. Current price. But is there that's the lowest price it was ever put at, but that was I'm sure a sale.
Yeah, it would be a sale.
Where is... Oh, here it is. No. It was on sale recently for $16.
Okay.
Well, but that was just a week sale, like a week long sale. Before that, it was still $64.99.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nope. Hasn't gone up on price on PC yet, apparently.
It's just been.
Oh, wait a minute. What's this? It went up $5 at some point in last year. But other than that, no recent change.
Okay. That's still
and the PC version does include the DLC, so.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's why it costs more.
Yeah. Okay. That was worth checking.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sorry, this is not available in
I did not say Alexa at all.
Try asking you for a job.
Echo, shut up.
I would never have one of those things just sitting around in my home.
I never even said that word. I don't know how it I must have said something that sounded like that word. Anyway.
I can't even ask what the word is, because then you'd have to say it.
ECHO.
Ah.
Yeah, I you can change the name of it.
It didn't come up when we were talking about Echoes of Wisdom. You said the word echoes, and it didn't respond, so how the hell did...
Well, maybe it's because you have the ES on the end. Let me see. Echoes. No, it heard me. Shut up.
So, who knows?
Echo, stop. Thank you.
Why don't you just turn it off when we're recording?
I mean, I never usually say that word, so it's never been a problem. It's like the first time it's ever happened.
But it happened, didn't it happen last week? It started beeping?
Oh, it beeps, but it doesn't say anything though.
Yeah, you should just turn that shit off completely when we're recording.
Yeah.
Just
I wonder if it has
unplug it.
like a do not disturb mode. I should just do that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. There's only one last thing.
Yeah, it's kind of the big thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. Ghost of Tsushima 2, but it's not called Ghost of Tsushima 2. It's called Ghost of Yotai. Yotai or Yotai?
Yotai.
Yotai?
Yes.
As we kind of already figured, it's arriving in 2025.
Yeah, there's no way it was going to come out this year.
No. But the cool thing about it, besides the name change, is the fact that it's a completely new story, completely new protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Takes place 300 years after Ghost of Tsushima.
Yep.
So it's completely new.
Yep.
It also looks like you have a wolf companion.
Yeah, new character played by Erika Ishii.
Yeah.
Of College Humor.
Yeah. I'm actually watching Critical Role right now, and she's a guest role, I guess, on that show, which is pretty cool.
She's in several of their breaking news videos where they have to read goofy stuff off a teleprompter like it's a news broadcast without laughing.
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty funny.
Yeah, she's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I like her. Yeah, not a whole lot to say about it. They didn't show gameplay per se. They showed in-engine stuff.
Yeah.
And the game looks gorgeous. It didn't look gorgeous on the stream, though. When I was live streaming it, I was like, this looks like Ghost of Tsushima. It didn't look any different.
I mean, it's still a work in progress.
Oh, no. When I rewatched it, once they released it in 4K, I was like, oh. Yeah, this looks way better than Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, okay.
Because Ghost of Tsushima was a PS4 game, and this is a PS5 only game.
Okay, maybe it's just a quality thing with the stream or something.
Yeah, well, YouTube compression.
Yeah,
it's brutal. Yeah. Once you see that shit in 4K, you're like, oh my god, the draw distance is insane. Yeah. I cannot believe they're able to achieve that draw distance. It's crazy. There's that shot of Atsu, the new protagonist, standing in front of Mount Yotai.
Yeah.
Yotai. I said it right the first time?
Yeah.
Yotai?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yotai.
That was just incredible. That looks incredible. It's...
My favorite thing about expanded draw distances is not having objects pop in. No, what it is not having the shadows change quality in the middle of a shadow.
Oh,
You know that shit where you see there's a long shadow and you can see where it goes from being blurry to sharp in the middle of the shadow, and as you move forward it keeps getting sharper.
It crispens up.
Yeah, I hate that shit. It's so distracting.
Or the trees when the leaves start to
That doesn't bother me as much as the shadow
thing. I hate that
thing.
shit.
I hate the tree thing as well, but the shadow thing is the worst because
the shadow's the worst.
If the whole model changes at once, fine. But when half of the shadow is high quality and half of it is low quality, that shit sucks.
You know what really makes me mad is that when they announced the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, we were basically told there was going to be no loading and pop-in was not going to be a thing anymore. And it hasn't happened.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the hardware maker saying that, and then it's like, well, the game developers are like, okay, but we want to have this much detail, which means we're going to have a level of detail system. I mean, you have to have a level of detail system. Like, there's no way you could run the full...
Or they could just make games for the platform instead of making it beyond the platform.
Well, the thing is the key to a good level of detail system is not having pop-in, it's making the pop-in...
not obvious?
Yeah. By having it pop in a little bit further out so that it's still low enough resolution on the screen that you don't see the change happen. Because when things are really far away, you could have a fucking 15 polygon character model. If they're only going to render as a cluster of 5 pixels on the screen because they're a mile away from you, it doesn't matter if they use the full quality model. The key is to get that distance dialed in so that before they become more apparent, you roll in the higher quality model. And the problem is that's tied to resolution, and the level of detail thresholds are usually not user customizable. So they will design a game with a 1080p level of detail system in mind, and then the game runs at 4K, and now you can see the pop-in because it all depends on the resolution you're running the game at. So
yeah,
if you could control the LOD thresholds, you'd have a much easier time smoothing that stuff out. But I can't think of a single game that lets you do that off the top of my head.
No. Do you Did we talk about Elden Ring on the Elden Ring podcast?
Did we talk about Elden Ring on the Elden Ring
No,
podcast?
like the about the pop-in on PlayStation.
Oh yeah, you
remember.
told me that the PS4 version
Was
runs better on the PS5. Yeah,
Than the PS5 version does on the PS5. Yeah, the PS5 version of Elden Ring is horrendously bad pop-in. Like
Yeah.
shit pops in like 20 feet in front of you. It's brutal.
Yeah.
When you're on the horse, I mean, not when you're walking around.
Yeah. Well, then it has to stream it in as well. So
It's just awful. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about Ghost of Yotai beyond what we've already stated because they didn't really show a whole lot besides the wolf, new protagonists, new location. Northern Japan, so there's gonna be snow.
Yep.
Um,
God, that'll
and-
be cool. Having like some fucking one-on-one samurai battle in the middle of a bamboo forest while it's snowing. Oh,
this game is gonna be the PS5 Pro's like.
that shit's gonna be so good.
Look at what this shit can do.
Yeah. I really hope we have a scenario like that because that's like peak Chenbara movie shit right there.
Have you played Tsushima?
No, I haven't, but it's on
No?
the list because it's on Steam.
It's on the list.
Everything's on the list, man. It's like it's a matter of budgeting it.
No, I know. It's impossible to play everything these days. It's just
Yeah.
insane. That's why Game Pass is so great. I like Game
But it's
Pass.
not on Game Pass because it's a PlayStation
No.
game.
Indeed. It's not even on PlayStation's version of Game Pass,
No.
which is sad. Sony has also stated that they want to expand the Ghost franchise, which is, so it's not Ghost of Tsushima, it's now the Ghost franchise,
Yeah.
into other media like movies, TV shows, and other spin-offs.
I imagine that's a thing that they'll continue to do. I imagine each game will be Ghost of some other region of Japan.
And this
makes
is really
sense.
smart on Sucker Punch's part to do this because they could theoretically take this franchise to like any time frame.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to stay in an old time frame.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk Ghost.
Dude. That could be cool.
That could be really cool.
That's a thing they'll do after like the 5th game, I'm sure. When they need to reboot it, they need to soft reboot it. They'll do Ghost
I
of
don't know,
Neo
man.
Tokyo.
I'm not as high on Ghost of Tsushima as a lot of people are. It was a great game, but it's an 8 to me. It's absolutely gorgeous, but it does get a little repetitive. Some of the map exploration is not as exciting as it could be. It's very slow pace, slow burn, and because of that, it's also not a game that I could ever replay because it's such a slow burn. It's like, oh my god. I think we talked about this last week, where we talked about like game intros that are just brutally long.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. How
that's another game.
They need to
just
give
has
you a
that.
skip.
Yeah, that game needs that. So it was really good, but I'm really hoping that this game kind of like takes the foundation that made and Assassin's Creed 2ifies it. You know what I mean? Like the jump from Assassin's Creed to Assassin's Creed 2 was just phenomenal, or Mass Effect to Mass Effect 2.
Like gives it that level of improvement.
where they're really able to achieve their vision. Because
of
once
what
you
the
have the
formula should
foundation
be.
there, you can build upon it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that it really like turns from an 8 for me to like a 10. Because they can do it.
With how popular the last one is, I'm sure that they've got the budget to do it now.
Oh yeah. Oh god, yeah. With how successful it was, especially when it came out on PC and they added the multiplayer, which did phenomenally well.
Didn't they put like a black and white mode in that game? But it's not just we took out the color. It's like we actually changed the way
like a film noir.
They changed the way the lighting works so that it looks good in black and white, like a black and white movie would. That's kind of cool because that's a thing that you got to go on.
No, I was gonna say they've added it to Ghost of Yotai as well.
Oh, okay. Yotai.
I'm never gonna get it. Yotai.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, because like shooting a black and white movie is very different from shooting a color movie because you actually have to light shit differently because you can't rely on the color to distinguish things in the scene.
Yep.
So it relies entirely on the lighting, and that means you have to think really hard about how you light it. It really changes it. So just putting the movie in or putting the game into black and white, I should say.
Desaturating it doesn't work.
Yeah, isn't the same.
Nope.
Yep.
Absolutely. So it's kind of cool that we finally got our a look at something from first party Sony, but there's still a lot of mystery of what Sony's up to. They still have let's see, they still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 studios that we have no clue what they're doing.
Yep, and no Bloodborne for PC.
Yeah, and no Silk Song, which is just a joke at this point.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, overall, the state of play was okay. It was fine.
It's definitely a lot better for people who have a PlayStation.
I mean, even for me, it was okay. Like,
Yeah.
Ghost of Yotei, did I say that right?
Yeah, there you go.
Ghost of Yotei was, it's a great reveal. But besides that, and Hell Is Us, and what else was shown that I was like amazing to me? Probably nothing really. Let me look real quick. Let's see.
I mean,
The
sometimes
Zero's
just-
Dawn remaster looks good.
Sometimes just getting one really good thing out of a show like this is all you need.
Yeah. Oh, the Midnight Walk. I'm really interested in. Yeah. It was fine.
It was no Sony E3 2016, but then what can be?
Yeah, I keep waiting for them to do a real banger of a showcase because they've got so much like hidden right now.
Do you remember what they revealed at that show?
Yeah, didn't they reveal the remake of Final Fantasy, Shenmue 3, and Last Guardian?
No, that's not what I'm talking about. Death Stranding. That was the one where Kojima came out with the staircase
we're
that
doing his
lit
Walk
up.
of Fame thing.
Yeah, and the fucking music from Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
That was that one.
Yeah. Sony's had some great shows.
They also had some really terrible ones, but that one was good.
Yep, the PS4 generation of shows was just fantastic. They did a really good job. All right, that has been the state of play and our topic of the week. I don't think I missed anything.
Nope, we just
Which
have
means
20 questions.
it's time for 20 questions.
So I picked the game this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I gave you a pretty easy one last time.
Oh,
because
no.
it was literally the date.
Yeah.
Which you didn't clue into until the very end, but you got there.
Yep.
You got there. That was the important thing. So I've decided to make this one a little bit trickier.
Damn.
But it does follow the rules. It is a game that was released here. It's not some like super obscure thing for the Commodore
Shovelware,
64
yeah.
that you've never heard of.
Okay.
This is a game that I think you could get. I don't know if you've played it, but it's a thing that I think you could get.
All right. Let's kick things off then. Oh, let me do my
Absolutely.
timestamp. Hold on. Where are we at? We're at...
And once again, I'm also regretting not having a webcam this week because I could do what you did last week and hold up my copy of it and reveal it to you.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah.
All right. Did this
Gonna have
game
to-
release in the 70s, 80s, or 90s?
No.
Okay. Did this game release on or after January 1st, 2010?
On or after 2010? No.
So a 2000s game.
Yep.
Okay. Was this originally exclusive to one console?
Yes.
Oh. Was it originally exclusive to a Nintendo console?
No.
PlayStation console?
Yes.
Okay. So we had a little bit of the PS1, we had PS2 and PS3. Oh my god, which one? I gotta figure it out. Was this originally released on the PlayStation 2?
Yes.
Okay. Good guess. Okay.
Still a lot of titles, though.
Yeah. Okay, a PlayStation 2 exclusive. There wasn't really a whole lot of those, actually.
There are... Well,
There's
there are,
enough, but
there
there's
are
not
f-
like...
There are fewer now, because a lot of them have been re-released.
Yeah.
Like now Final Fantasy 12 is on a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Is this game part of a series?
Yes.
Okay. Was it developed in Japan?
Yes.
Wow, I'm getting a lot of yeses.
Mm-hmm.
I should be able to get this. Unless I don't know what it is.
Well, the problem is that still leaves a lot. Because most of the
PlayStation 2
most of the
exclusive.
PS2 exclusives are Japanese games.
Okay, well, I have to ask this. Is it an RPG?
No.
Interesting.
Interesting.
That eliminates
yes.
a shitload.
Yes, it does.
A Japanese developed game on PlayStation that was exclusive to PlayStation 2. I'm trying not to look behind me because I have a PS2 collection behind me.
Yeah.
It's like, right. No, it's hidden by my chair. Well, this is going to be tough.
You're only 9 questions in.
Yeah, I know, but my Japanese developed games are not fresh in my memory. And it's not an RPG, but it's a Japanese developed PlayStation 2 exclusive. And it's part of a series. Is the series alive today? Let's say by alive today, has it had a new release in the last 5 years?
Let me check.
That's not good. If you don't know, that means it's been some time. Okay, so it's been at least 5 years since the last release.
Yeah, I do not see... well, wait, hold on. Let me look at this. Oh! Okay, no, change that.
It has had a
It
release in the
has.
last 5 years.
I didn't even know about this, which is not... not very reassuring. But yes, apparently there has been a release within the last 5 years.
Not really reassuring.
Not really reassuring.
That means it could be a mobile game.
Sorry, was that that was 10, right? Yeah, that was 10.
Sounds like a long series. PS2 placed. I gotta figure out what type of game this is. If it's not an RPG, other Japanese developed games would there be? Is this an action game?
There is action in it, but it's not... I would not call it an action game.
Oh, there's no way that series is.
Now you understand why I picked the game. It's something you got to think about, because...
Was this not a particularly good game?
Now, how should I answer that? Should I say yes, or should I say no, it was not a particularly
Just
good game?
specify which one, just so I know.
It's not a particularly
It was not a
good
particularly good game. I'm thinking I know what it is.
I liked it.
Yeah, now I'm pretty sure I know what it is. But which one is it? That is the question. Is this the original game in the series?
No.
Okay, so it's probably 2, 3. I think 4 was later, so it's probably 2 or 3. Did this game involve large disasters?
Oh, you figured it out, my friend. Yes, it did.
Okay, so now I just need to figure out which one it is, but there is no possible way that I'll be able to figure out the number that it is, because I'm pretty sure 4 was a Wii game, so it's probably 2 or 3. I guess I can ask... Is this the second game in a series?
Yes.
Okay, is this Disaster Report 2?
Yes.
Yeah! Yes!
I would have also accepted Raw Danger, which is the name that it was released here under.
The original, yeah. That's awesome.
I
can't believe I got that.
As soon as you asked, was
Does this
a
involve
particularly good
disasters?
I'm impressed. I thought you could get there, but I didn't think you would get there quite that quickly.
I mean, I got lucky with a lot of those questions.
Yeah.
You know? There was like a yes after yes after yes after yes. Did you answer no to any of them? I think every question was a yes.
The date-related ones had a few no's. Because you asked, like, was it in the 90s, and was it post-2010?
Every question pointed me in a direction, though.
Yeah.
I like that. That was a good one. Damn. Yeah, those games suck.
Well, I like them.
Yeah. Okay,
I like them because they're really cheesy.
They're objectively bad in the way that the Earth Defense Force games are objectively bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it can still be fun.
But they're fun, campy, like, stupid games. Yeah, apparently they made a fourth one that came out...
it was a fourth one? I thought the fourth one was on Wii. No?
No, the fourth one is...
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Was
it a green 4?
Like
in the logo? Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was for Wii, but no, apparently it's PS4.
There is a similarly titled game on the Wii called Disaster Day of Crisis, but that's a different series.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that maybe I was getting that confused. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's the logo I was thinking of was Disaster Report 4, though.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That was a good pick. I can't believe I have no clue what made me click into that.
Do you have that game? Do you have a copy of that?
No, God, no. Fuck no. I would never spend money on that. You kidding me?
Hold on, have you ever seen the cover art for it?
I've seen For
Here's the
disaster report 4, I have.
Here's
Yeah.
the Wikipedia article. Check out that fucking cover art.
Oh my god. God, that's awful. Hilarious, but awful.
Oh my god. So you want to know what the craziest thing about this game is? The voice acting. I mean, which is terrible. But
It's awful. Yeah.
but that's not the issue. The actual audio quality of the lines of dialogue changes from sentence to sentence.
Oh my god, really?
You'll have a character speaking a sentence, and it sounds like they're in the room with you, and then the very next line that they speak 2 seconds later sounds like it's coming over a fucking telephone.
Oh my
I don't
god.
know how
They managed that?
they took the jankiest game in the world and somehow made it jankier for the North American release.
Good lord. That is awful.
But it's fun in a weird way. I've always thought of this as Murphy's Law, the video game. Because Murphy's Law states that if something can go wrong, it will. And the thing about these games is that it's not just one natural disaster. It's repeated disaster after disaster after disaster. If you are in a building and you have to walk across a piece of precarious floor, it will 100% fall out from you. You will never be able to do something as simple as walk down a hallway. There's always going to be like
Something goes wrong.
A wall gives way and the room starts flooding with water or some shit. Every single opportunity for things to go wrong, they do. Over and over and over again, to the point of mundanity. And that is what makes these games so fun. They're so stupidly crazy. They're bad. But they're entertaining.
Clearly people are buying them because it's multiple entries. So, yeah.
I can't believe you got that so fast. But at the same time, I figured, yeah, you could get it. The thing where you would have gotten hung up is if you'd gotten stuck on trying to ask for a genre. You were very smart in not trying to do that.
Yeah.
Because if you had asked, like, is this a shooter? Is this a racing game? You would have burned through the questions so fast.
Yeah, I had nothing in my mind when it was not an RPG, so that's why I asked if it was action, because I was like, that's the most generic thing I could ask, and I could probably get something out of you that would give me a hint. And when you said
I don't like
has
to give
action in it,
bare yes or no answers when there's a technicality like that.
yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, but as soon as you asked, was this a good game? I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah,
I think
I'm onto it.
I think he might be zeroing in on me. I think he might be seeing through this.
I remember you talking about those games all the time.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's why.
That might be the fastest 20 questions we've ever had.
Oh yeah, that was definitely a record. So what was it, 12?
I think you got it on. Well, your 15th was the one where you asked the game. I believe
15th.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we got one quicker than that. No, maybe not.
No, I got BioShock Infinite after 13 questions, I believe.
Okay, there you go.
But I think
you got that one really fast.
I think it took me longer to get those 13 questions out.
Yeah, it took you longer time-wise, but not question-wise.
Yeah. So you've got the speed record and I've got the question record.
Okay. That's fair. Well, that was fun.
That was fun.
All right.
We should do a Let's Play of Raw Danger.
No, we should.
And
you can.
Do it from the PS2, get it in 480i. Oh, God, yes. Right out of the fucking RCA cables. Yeah, man.
Oh, man.
You know, the craziest thing about that game is it came out in 2006. It looks like it should be a launch game for the PS2.
Yeah,
you can only move in 8 directions. It's got an analog stick.
Really? It's that?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's locked to 8 directions.
That's awful. Holy
It's
crap.
so jank. I love it. I love it.
And they're still making them. Well, kind of.
Occasionally.
Occasionally pops up in pop culture.
Yeah.
All right, this has been Press Pause, a gaming podcast, episode 15. If you want to reach me, I am at COE_TJLeo on Twitter.
And I am at Ninjas on Twitter.
I may not be on Twitter for very long. I'm getting real tired of...
Elon has decided to kill the platform by getting rid of blocks and mutes.
He's just killing it, man. He's
Great
absolutely
job.
destroying it.
You know what the best part is that dude is 100% going to sell to try and recoup his losses.
Oh,
he's
100%.
gonna sell it for something like $5 billion.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
gonna end up having lost so much money.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's that platform's dead. And it sucks too because it was such a cool platform, and then
Yeah,
there's so
I
much
will be
bad stuff happened to it.
staying to watch it go down in flames.
Yeah,
I want
that's
to-
my problem right now. Is I don't have anywhere else to go. Like
I want to be there and witness the end of the world.
yeah,
But then I'm
Like-
gone.
yeah. Apparently the user count's down to something like 500 and some odd thousand. Like,
Dude,
it's not high anymore.
The number of because you if you go a while without updating, you'll just get X number of new tweets, right? It's like half of what it was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't check it for an hour, I'd have like 100+ new tweets unread. Now I have less than 50 after an hour.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean 500,000. I meant 500 million. It still has a lot of people, but it's just so toxic. I just hate it.
And how many of those people are fucking bots? Like
Yeah.
multiple times a day get porn bots liking my tweets, trying to get attention from me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that platform's dead.
Yeah.
But the problem is there isn't anything equivalent to it except for Blue Sky, and Blue Sky has a very small population right now. So
It's gonna change once Twitter goes down.
I really hope so, man. I really
Yeah.
hope so. This platform.
And the
Brutal.
great thing about Blue Sky is that it's no longer being run by Jack Dorsey, because he's a piece of shit as well. Just not nearly as much as Elon.
Yeah, no, yeah, he sold it, right?
Well, he sold his stake in Blue Sky to someone else, because
Yeah.
he sold Twitter to Elon, and then he went and fucking made Blue Sky. And I was like, I'm not going to Blue Sky. Like, I was complaining about Jack Dorsey on Twitter. I will say Jack Dorsey could take criticism. You could tweet criticism directly at that man, and he would not ban you, which is not the case for Elon.
Yeah, Elon just is the opposite. I remember when he went on. It was some sort of talk show, and he was talking about how these advertisers were threatening to pull out of Twitter.
Yeah,
and he was
he's
like,
got
"Fuck you! If you want to take your shit."
He's got the leather jacket on. He's like, fuck him.
Yeah,
It's
fuck
like,
him.
Yeah, okay, you're cool, man.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
and then they pulled out, and he's like, "I'm going to sue you." It's like, what did you think was going to happen when you told your advertisers
Oh,
to fuck
man.
off? You're an idiot.
As soon as they walk the walk, he starts flipping his shit.
Yeah, fucking moron, man.
It's crazy that he's the richest man in the world, and I feel like I'm more of a winner than him. Like, how much of a loser...
It just proves to you that intelligent people don't.
Intelligence and success are not
They're not
necessarily
linked
correlated.
whatsoever. No,
Yeah.
it's luck and
And being born into a rich family.
yeah, it's just insane. Just insane.
Yeah.
If you want to email us your questions to be featured on the show, code.op.podcasts@gmail.com. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Subscribe button's up here. Last episode of Press Pause is down here.
Notification bell is somewhere.
Ding-a-ling-ling-ling. All right, this has been Press Pause Gaming Podcast. Now get back to gaming.
We out.